Chapter 4269. Kid, you better take back your words. Otherwise, I have the right to kill you. Another figure stood up. It was a middle-aged man. He was very powerful. There was an extremely strong killing intent in his eyes. He was Iron Hand's father, the son of the Silver Corpse Saint King. His cultivation had reached the late stage of the Saint Venerable realm. He could be said to be a top-notch expert. Lin Xian sneered. What? Did I say something wrong? Isn't he the grandson of the Silver Corpse Saint King? Do you think he's still my grandson? I don't have such a trashy grandson. As soon as he said that, the people of Peerless City laughed. Songhai and Kunlun Pavilion also laughed until they bent over. Many people laughed until tears came out of their eyes. This guy was definitely doing it on purpose. The middle-aged man gnashed his teeth in anger. Iron Hand roared. Damn it, I'll kill you with my own hands. As he said that, he wanted to rush forward. However, the Silver Corpse Saint King roared. Don't be impulsive. This is a provocation. The surrounding elders also advised. Yes, don't fall for that kid's trick. That's right, he's obviously trying to provoke you. Hearing that, Lin Xian laughed. Grandson, did you hear that? Those people don't think highly of you. You'd better obediently squat there and be a grandson. Damn it, I'll definitely kill him. Iron Hand roared. He turned his head. Father, grandfather, believe me, I can definitely do it. What? The middle-aged man hesitated. The Silver Corpse Saint King asked. Did you bring that thing with you? Don't worry, grandfather, I've always brought it with me. All right, then go and bring me his head. After receiving the order, Iron Hand's lips curled into a smile. Great, I can finally take revenge. Those elders originally wanted to persuade Iron Hand, but when they knew that Iron Hand had a trump card that could save his life, they all heaved a sigh of relief. If there was no danger to his life, then they had nothing to worry about. Moreover, Iron Hand was very powerful. He might not even need to use his trump card to kill that kid. Stupid ant. Today will be the day you die. Iron Hand stepped forward in the air and flew forward. When the surrounding people saw this scene, they were also surprised. Iron Hand actually wanted to fight. This was really unexpected. One should know that. Lin Xian had killed many experts before. In other words, ordinary holy masters would not dare to fight with him now. As for the late-stage holy venerates, they could not attack. Given this, no one could deal with Lin Xian. But now, Iron Hand had actually made his move. What did he have to rely on? Lin Xian smiled. Are you out? Very good, the provocation worked. He would make the Silver Corpse Holy King regret it. Lin Xian said indifferently. Take out your strongest technique, or you won't have a chance to attack. How dare you look down on me? Tai Shou angrily shouted as his aura erupted. Nomological laws filled the sky as a powerful and cold aura swept out in all directions. When the surrounding people felt this aura, their expressions changed. So powerful, this Iron Arms was indeed worthy of his reputation. It seemed like the other party had absolute strength. At the same time, a yellow springs mirror appeared on his forehead, protecting his soul. Kid, your soul is indeed powerful, but I've made sufficient preparations. This time, you can't hurt me at all. Without a soul, let's see how you're going to fight me. Boom! Tai Shou threw a palm strike, and a metallic luster appeared on it. A terrifying roar reverberated between heaven and earth. The surrounding people were shocked. This force was too strong. Furthermore, Tai Shou already defended his soul. What was this Lin Xian going to use? Tai Shou was probably finished this time. They didn't expect Iron Arms to be so well prepared. Discussions broke out one after another. Everywhere Tai Shou's palm strike passed, space shattered. Its might was unimaginable. Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. Did Tai Shou take defense? It looked like Tai Shou was targeting Xiao Chen's characteristics. Thinking of this, Xiao Chen took a deep breath. Light burst out of his body, forming a golden giant. Tai Shou opened his hands and blocked in front of him. Boom! When Tai Shou's fist collided with the golden giant, space shook intensely. The impact knocked Lin Xian back, shattering space. However, he was not injured. The strength of the Nine-Yang divine body surpassed everything. The two golden hands were like two huge mountains, blocking the other party's attack. Your physique is rather strong. However, why are you only defending passively? Didn't you say that you wanted to kill me? Where is your courage from before? Iron Arms looked at the other party with a cold smile on his face. Previously, the other party's soul was extremely terrifying. That eye technique could instantly kill a middle-stage holy venerate. But now he had blocked this kind of fatal blow. Based on his opponent's cultivation alone, there was no way he could contend against him. Next, it was time for him to take his revenge. He would let the other party know what despair was. Not good. The expressions of the surrounding people also changed. They had already discovered that Lin Xian had lost his advantage. If that was the case, they would definitely lose this battle. Iron Hand's lips curled up in a sneer. The strength within his body rapidly erupted, and the laws swept out. His palm became even more terrifying. That light seemed to have turned into a holy city. He continuously attacked Lin Xian's nine-yang divine body. Under such a violent palm technique, the flames on Lin Xian's nine-yang divine body also jumped and flickered. Clearly he was being suppressed, even with the strength of the nine-yang divine body. It was impossible to completely block such an attack. When the surrounding people saw this scene, they all had different expressions. There was shock and disbelief. There were also sneers. Some of them shook their heads and sighed. Lin Wudi was too arrogant. This time he was dead for sure. Indeed, in the midst of such a violent storm of attacks, Lin Xian was like a small boat in the ocean that could be swallowed up at any moment. The people from Peerless City, as well as Morong Qingqing and the others, were somewhat puzzled. To be honest, they knew that Iron Arms was very strong. However, they also had some understanding of Lin Xian's strength. This was especially so with Lin Xian's character. He would not fight a battle that he was not confident in. Why was he not making a move now that he was being suppressed? Ignorant fool. The people from the underworld hall sneered. The people from the other holy cities also heaved sighs of relief. This battle could end. However, the few Saint Kings were frowning. They did not believe that the other party would be defeated so easily. After all, the other party had killed many experts earlier. Furthermore, the other party had escaped from the Holy Kings. What was this kid doing? The corner of Peerless Holy King's mouth curled up into a smile. Although Lin Xian was constantly retreating, he could feel that the power in Lin Xian's body was constantly gathering. It was obvious that he was going to use some ultimate moves. Lin Xian was indeed preparing some ultimate moves because he only had 2 more soul instant kill left. Moreover, the other party had taken defensive measures, so he did not plan to use his soul. In this way, although he could contend with the other party, it would not be so easy to completely kill the other party. Especially after he displayed his strength, the other party would definitely escape. And he would definitely not allow the other party to escape. Chapter 4270. Iron Hand stood in the void and looked down at the figure that kept retreating. His eyes were filled with disdain. He said coldly, "I thought you were some powerful expert. But I didn't expect you to be nothing without your soul. With your strength, you can't compete with me. You can go to hell." The aura on Iron Hand's body became more and more terrifying. A cold murderous intent appeared in his eyes. Countless laws gathered on his palms. Since he was called Iron Hand, it meant that his palm technique was unparalleled. A terrifying aura emanated from his palm and spread out in all directions. Then it turned into 2 huge fists and punched forward. Indestructible fist. The pair of fists instantly pierced through the void. Countless black holes appeared where they passed. However, there were no cracks at the edge of the black holes. This could only be caused by extremely terrifying power. And the power was very concentrated. The moment the fist appeared, it was almost extremely powerful. It was enough to destroy everything. When the surrounding people saw this scene, their pupils constricted. They knew that they were about to use their lost skills. Some people held their breaths. Lin Xian naturally felt the terror of this fist. He took a deep breath. He didn't dodge. Instead, he pushed his divine body to the extreme. At the same time, a force in his body was constantly rotating. It was a Tai Chi diagram. Every time it rotated, it gathered a force. At this moment, it was ready to attack. It was just waiting for an opportunity. Boom. The flames on Lin Xian's body formed the golden god of war again. Then it blocked the attack. With a boom, The fists landed on the flaming god of war. The sky collapsed and the earth cracked. The wind blew. Endless divine flames jumped. However, this fist was too terrifying. The divine flames were extinguished. Even the god of war kept retreating. There were cracks on it. Lin Xian's face turned pale. Not good. Seeing this scene, everyone exclaimed. They didn't expect that Lin Xian didn't dodge. Instead, he blocked the attack. This time, this kid is really dead. The people from the Acheron Hall smiled. The middle-aged man also sneered. He knew that this battle was over. Iron Arms stood in the air and looked down at the flaming war god that was constantly being destroyed. His lips curled into a cold smile. What Lin Wudi? In her hands, he could not even withstand a single blow. He finally got his revenge. After the other party died, all the treasures on the other party's body would be his. Thinking of this, he laughed proudly. However, the Silver Corpse Saint King's pupils constricted. He shouted angrily and quickly retreated. But it was already too late. Over there, amidst the terrifying storm of light, 10 sword rays instantly flew out, forming a sword formation that enveloped the iron hand. At the same time, a cold voice sounded. After fighting for so long, you still haven't defeated me. What's there to be arrogant about? As soon as he said that, the surrounding people were shocked. Could it be that Lin Xian was still alive? They all looked over, and in the next moment, they saw a figure walking out. Iron Arms was also stunned, but he soon sneered. 10 ultimate sword formation? I've seen it before. It's very powerful, but it's impossible for you to kill me. Today, I'll break your 10 ultimate sword formation. Speaking of this, he waved his palm, and the boundless power was once again reduced. The sword formation shook violently. The two erupted, and once again displayed terrifying power. At this moment, a dragon roar sounded. Lin Xian had once again activated the unparalleled secret technique. The power of the 10 ultimate sword formation exploded. Not good. The surrounding people exclaimed, and Iron Arm's pupils constricted. His opponent was indeed very powerful. But so what? He still had a trump card. Thinking of this, he snorted coldly. A small cauldron appeared, and there were countless white bones and emperors spring on it. It was abnormally strange. As soon as it appeared, it suppressed heaven and earth, blocking the terrifying 10 ultimate sword rays. The two collided, and the small cauldron kept spinning, releasing power to completely suppress it. 10 ultimate sword formation. In the end, he enveloped the 10 ultimate sword formation, causing the sword technique to be unable to display its power. Kid, your most powerful technique is gone. Let's see what you can do now. He had a smug smile, and the surrounding people also shook their heads and sighed. They knew that Lin Xian was really dead. Lin Xian's lips curled into a cold smile. His opponent had finally used his trump card. It was indeed strong enough to suppress the 10 ultimate sword formation. But so what? His real killing move was the Tai Chi diagram in his body. Thinking of this, he didn't say anything. Instead, he waved his hand, and a Tai Chi diagram instantly flew out. It was so fast that it was unimaginable. Retreat quickly. Silver Corpse Holy King roared again. Iron Arm's pupils constricted. He didn't expect his opponent to have a trump card. And its power was actually not weaker than the 10 ultimate sword formation. How could it be? Damn it, he was careless. He roared, wanting to recall the small cauldron to defend himself. But the 10 ultimate sword formation erupted with power at this moment, directly blocking the small cauldron, causing its speed to slow down. No. Iron Arms was in despair. He could only dodge quickly. He didn't dare to take it head-on. That was because he felt a fatal danger. However, he couldn't dodge at all. The Tai Chi diagram flew directly towards him, and in the next moment, it enveloped him. Instantly, the power of Tai Chi erupted, swallowing that space. It was so miserable that it made people's scalps go numb. Everyone was stunned. They really didn't expect Lin Xian to be able to counterattack. They also didn't expect that everything before was planned by Lin Xian. Iron Arms. The middle-aged man roared crazily. Silver Corpse Holy King was even angrier. He directly stretched out a hand. It seemed that he wanted to save his grandson. However, a devouring light appeared in the air and blocked that hand. You've gone too far. You've broken the rules time and time again. Do you really think that we can't punish you? Wuxia Holy King's cold voice sounded. At most, we'll open the holy hall. Let's see how arrogant you can be. As soon as he said that, Silver Corpse Holy King was stunned. He retracted his hand. Father, quickly save Iron Arms. The middle-aged man was extremely nervous. However, Silver Corpse Holy King's face was pale. There were rules in the competition, and he didn't dare to break them. Otherwise, he would end up very miserably. So he could only watch helplessly. The surrounding people also felt their scalps go numb. The terrifying power of the Tai Chi diagram erupted and soon left. A pile of bones fell out from it. It was Iron Arms from before. He had been robbed of all his vitality by the power of death. Was he dead? Iron Arms had actually died. The people of Acheron Hall went crazy. The middle-aged man, Blackbone Holy King, also roared crazily. He couldn't accept it at all. Silver Corpse Holy King gritted his teeth, but there was nothing he could do. However, he still had a glimmer of hope. As long as there were bones, he could revive Iron Arms. He had such a method. However, in the next moment his eyes turned red because Lin Xian stomped down and crushed all the bones into powder. Then the 9 suns' divine fire burned. Everything was burned to ashes and no longer existed. Chapter 4271. The people from the Acheron Palace went crazy. The Silver Corpse Holy King roared at the sky, and his terrifying aura swept across the 9 heavens. The murderous aura on his body was enough to shock everyone. At this moment, Peerless Holy King's expression was solemn. He was constantly on guard against his opponent's attack. However, the Silver Corpse Holy King did not attack in the end. His face was extremely cold. The competition continued. After this round, there were only 3 more rounds left, and then it would be over. So, it was the final moment. Sure enough, the rest of the people started to use their ultimate techniques. There were even some elders in the later stage who started to make their moves. Among the younger generation, there was also a top-level battle. It was the battle between Chao Tiansheng and Gu Feng. The battle between the two of them attracted the attention of countless people. Even Lin Xian was greatly surprised. The two of them were extremely powerful. They were not weaker than him. At this moment, the battle between the two of them was extremely terrifying. Gu Feng's spatial law was even stronger than the Void Beast. It made everyone's hair stand on end. However, he could not do anything to Chao Tiansheng. Chao Tiansheng used some of his techniques. Even the elders' faces changed drastically. Some people even exclaimed, "Why haven't they seen it before?" Could it be that he was using some lost ultimate technique? How was that possible? Who was he? Many people were shocked. To be honest, between the two of them, Chao Tiansheng gave him the most mysterious feeling. After all, he knew that Gu Feng was from the Monarch clan. However, he did not know Chao Tiansheng's background. Especially when Chao Tiansheng broke through, it was even more strange. It was the first time he saw someone breaking through in a coffin. Now, it seemed that this person was indeed very strong. He was using all his ultimate techniques. In the end, after half an hour, the two of them ended in a draw. Other than that, the other opposing forces were also crazily targeting Wuxia City. Next, Lei Shensheng made his move and challenged Lu Yuan. Lu Yuan did not back down. Instead, he faced him head-on. Lei Shensheng's strength was also very terrifying. This person was called Lei Chen. The moment he appeared, the lightning on his body shook non-stop. When Lei Shensheng's hand struck out, it caused the heavens to collapse and the earth to crack. Facing such a violent attack, Lu Yuan did not dodge at all. Instead, his palm continued to receive the attack. Iron Horse Ice River. Countless icy aura spread out from his body, forming an ice river. On the ice river, there was a mighty demonic beast with a metallic luster all over its body that was charging towards them. With a cracking sound, it tore apart the thunder in the sky and pierced through Lei Chen. Lei Shensheng roared crazily. The pain was unbearable. At the same time, he was shocked. Wasn't the other party's strength too strong? Damn it! His body quickly assembled. Thunder God's 9 strikes. He waved his hands and attacked continuously. This was a superimposed cultivation technique, and the more it was used, the more powerful it would be. By the 9th time, his strength had reached a peak. Then the entire world shook, and the surrounding people cried out in alarm. The people of Thunder God City also revealed a sinister smile. This time the other party was dead for sure, right? Lu Yuan didn't dodge either. A river of ice spread around him. His palms formed seals again, and countless precepts gathered in the sky, forming a heavenly palace. It carried a prehistoric aura. Flying General of Dragon City. The cold voice sounded again. Above his head, there was a huge dragon coiling around him. The doors to the palace opened, and a man wearing dragon lightning battle armor walked out. A spear pierced through heaven and earth. Ah! With a scream, Lei Shencheng was penetrated, and his body shattered again. Boom! He fell from the sky. Was he killed? The surrounding people couldn't believe it. The people of Thunder God City were also stunned. Another one of their experts had been killed. This Lu Yuan actually had other means other than the ice precepts. What kind of ability was that? In an instant, countless people were discussing. Lu Yuan returned, and then the Heavenly Fragrance Pavilion attacked, and killed an expert of Thunder God City. The New Moon Clan challenged and defeated the other party of the Joyous Union Palace. Lord Kunlun's assassin killed a sage of the Great Desolate Mansion. The battle was very intense, and the hearts of the people of the sacred city were bleeding. Those who could survive until now were the strongest of the strongest. Their future achievements were limitless, but they didn't expect to die in the last few rounds. The people in the outer realm felt their scalps go numb. This battle was really too intense. The number of experts who died was more than the total number of experts in the previous hundreds and thousands of years. Especially the Acheron Hall and the Myriad Demon City. Almost 2/3 of the people of the sacred city had died. Now only 1/3 of them were left. It was a pitiful number. This scene made the faces of the people of the sacred city turn ugly. The few sacred kings clenched their teeth so hard that they almost broke. They had planned to join forces to deal with Wushuang City. It would be best if they could destroy Wushuang City completely. Then, they would be trampled under their feet forever. But who would have thought that the situation was completely out of their expectations? Wushuang City had actually gathered even more strength and had beaten them up miserably. Father, let me fight in the next round. I must kill him with my own hands. The sacred king of the Dark Valley had an extremely strong killing intent in his eyes. His son was killed on the spot. He couldn't bear it. The surrounding elders gasped when they heard it. The sacred king of the Dark Valley was a late-stage sacred venerable, while Lin Xian was just a minor saint. If the sacred king of the Dark Valley wanted to fight, he would have to suppress his cultivation base. The sacred king of the Silver Corpse didn't agree immediately, but continued to watch the battle. Next, the Myriad Sword Pavilion also attacked Wushuang City. A top sword saint walked out of the Myriad Sword Pavilion. He was the distant Fire Sword Saint. He challenged Yu Ruo. As soon as he appeared, a terrifying flaming sword chi swept across the sky, forming a terrifying giant sword formation. It directly burned Yu Ruo. Oh no, this woman is in danger. Countless people exclaimed. The flame of the distant Fire Sword Saint was extremely powerful. When combined with his sword technique, it was extremely powerful. Yu Ruo's face was incomparably calm in the flame. She opened and closed her palms, and at the same time, the black and white eye appeared in her eyes. It bloomed with black and white light. 2 doors formed in the sky. One was pitch black and the other was pale white, with a mysterious aura. A dark figure walked out of the pitch black door, holding a death scythe in his hand. On the other side, a figure in a white robe walked out of the Changbai door, holding a treasure bottle in his hand. Holy light scattered across the sky. The appearance of 2 completely opposite auras surprised Lin Xian. It was very similar to his Tai Chi. They were 2 different forces. Could it be the legendary twin stars of destiny? An elder exclaimed. The others were also shocked when they heard it. This was also a lost divine ability. It had been thousands of years since anyone had learned it. Now it appeared in front of this person. The 2 black and white figures were called the good and evil twins, representing heaven and hell. When the 2 of them went out together, it was really terrifying. Within 10 moves, the distant Fire Sword Saint was directly killed, and his body was sealed in heaven and hell. They were too strong. What kind of people did Wushuang Sage King take in? How could they be so strong? Lin Xian was shocked as well. The strength of these personal disciples was truly formidable. Moreover, none of them had survived until now. It could be said that they were the most well-preserved in the sacred city. As for Fu Hongye and Ling Hu Chuexue, they were even stronger. However, it was not that they did not die. An expert of the older generation had fallen, mercilessly killed by the people of the Great Desolate Mansion. This expert of the older generation was a late-stage Saint Venerable. In the end, he did not escape, and his soul was destroyed. This scene made the hearts of Lin Xian and the others heavy. Chapter 4272. The surrounding people were also shocked. It seemed like Wushuang City was not going to be spared. There were even late sacred venerables dying. Wushuang Sage said with a cold face, "There are still 2 more rounds. You must be careful. They might retaliate crazily." Indeed, Fu Hongye was challenged once again. He managed to kill his way out of the encirclement. On the other side, Ling Hu Chuexue was also facing an extremely strong opponent. He was severely injured. However, his opponent was in a worse state. He killed his opponent directly. His body was covered in blood. He stood in the sky like a killing god. His powerful aura was shocking. There were not many people left around the Sage Kings. Some of them were even left in the single digits. It was too miserable. One had to know that after arriving, these groups were extremely large. Each group consisted of dozens of geniuses, standing side by side. However, there were less than 10 people left now. The competition was not over yet. There were not many people left on the Acheron Palace's side. They were all alone and miserable. Everyone's face was ashen. Wan Yaoqing, Thunder God City, and Great Desolate Mansion were determined to attack Wushuang City. Moreover, they were challenging the same person. That was Ling Hu Chuexue. Ling Hu Chuexue had fought 3 consecutive battles. His injuries were even more serious, especially when he was challenged by the Great Desolate Mansion. With the summons of desolation, several terrifying figures of desolation appeared, completely enveloping him. The entire world was blasted apart, turning into nothingness. Could it be that Ling Hu Chuexue was killed? Everyone started to get nervous. The people from Wushuang City clenched their fists. However, Ling Hu Chuexue walked out of the shattered void. The people from Wushuang City heaved a sigh of relief. He was fine. Too powerful. Just what level had the strength of this chief disciple reached? The sacred venerate from the Great Desolate Mansion wanted to retreat. However, he was not in time. Half of his body was extinguished. The other half of his body fell on the stage. Although he escaped with his life, his foundation was injured. He would not be able to recover within 300 years. Damn it! The people from the Great Desolate Mansion roared. The other sacred cities also had ugly expressions. No, they had to severely injure Wushuang City. So far, Wushuang City only lost a late-stage holy venerate. They were not willing to accept this. He had to kill these top geniuses. Since Ling Hu Chuexue was so difficult to deal with, then he would kill Fu Hongye. He had to kill Fu Hongye. The remaining forces that had yet to make a move, such as Thunder God City and Purple Void Palace, were frantically challenging Fu Hongye. In the sky, the purple aura poured down like the Milky Way, bringing with it a terrifying pressure. Fu Hongye was pushed back. Fu Hongye vomited blood. However, at this moment, the red leaf behind him began to shake violently. A desolate aura soared into the sky. They charged towards the purple light, shaking the 9 heavens. The battle between the two was extremely intense. The purple light in the hands of the Purple Sun Palace was like lightning that shot out in all directions. A terrifying power appeared, shocking everyone. This was the attack of a late-stage holy venerable. Fu Hongye's desolate aura was shocking. Could it be that this maple tree really had a shocking origin? It was truly unbelievable. They could not imagine. However, the other party was still 1 cultivation realm lower. When facing the killing move of a late-stage holy venerate, he simply could not block it. Everyone knew that Fu Hongye was very strong. His growth was limitless. However, he was going to fall here now. It was truly unfortunate. The old man from the Purple Sun Palace. He was called the Purple Thunder Sage. Not only did this old man cultivate Ziyang's energy, but he also cultivated the thunder laws. The two berserk energies overturned the sky and the earth. Die. You will not survive. The purple thunder sage revealed a sinister smile. If Fu Hongya died, it would be a huge blow to unparalleled city. No. Shangguan Shaoxian, and the others exclaimed. Lin Xian's pupils constricted. Could it be that Fu Hongya was really going to fall? Damn it. The difference was simply too great. It was already very shocking that Fu Hongya could fight until now. A startling light burst out of Fu Hongya's eyes. The desolate aura coming from his body became even more terrifying. In the next moment, thunder descended from the sky, piercing through the sky. As for Fu Hongya's strength, it rapidly soared. What happened? Everyone went crazy. The smile of the Purple Sun Palace's old man vanished. Was he going to make a breakthrough? The Purple Thunder Sage was even more shocked. Damn it. This Fu Hongya was originally a middle-stage holy venerate. If he made a breakthrough, he would have the same cultivation as him. He might not be able to suppress him. Thinking of this, he snorted coldly. You have no chance. The Purple Thunder Sage sent out purple thunder, which filled the sky, to stop this thunder tribulation. However, he had underestimated Fu Hongya. Fu Hongya's thunder was a top-grade thunder. It was extremely terrifying. The thunder in the sky poured down, enveloping Fu Hongya. The two of them went through the thunder tribulation together. When the thunder in the sky disappeared, Fu Hongya stood there. His injuries had already healed. Moreover, his strength and aura had reached the late-stage holy venerate. On the other hand, the Purple Thunder Sage was already on the verge of death. He was severely injured. Fu Hongya looked down at him from above. Using your cultivation level to suppress me? How despicable. Now, I will let you experience the feeling of being suppressed by strength. He slapped down with his palm. Desolate dual qi wrapped around his hand. It was like the hand of a god, directly enveloping the Purple Thunder Sage. Ah! Boom! 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 A terrifying sound rang out. The Purple Thunder Sage was smashed into pieces, turning into a bloody mist. Another late-stage holy venerate died. The Purple Sun Palace's people nearly fainted from anger. The surrounding people were too shocked. Fu Hongya actually made a breakthrough, and his strength increased greatly. Not only did he kill a strong enemy, but he also became a true late-stage holy venerate. This was great. Peerless City's people cheered. Lin Xian also revealed a smile. Fu Hongya. Many people gritted their teeth. He was also a powerful enemy. After his strength made a breakthrough, no one would be able to suppress him in the future. 2 rounds had passed. There was only 1 round left. After this round, the battle would end. Everyone's hearts were in their mouths. If they could survive the last round, they would be able to win. If they could make it through the last round, what awaited them would be supreme glory and glory. If they could not make it through, they would turn into a pile of bones and be buried here forever. On the Yellow Spring Palace's side, Black Bone's expression was cold. He wanted to make a move no matter what. You are a late-stage holy venerate, while that brat is just a small sage. If you want to fight him, suppress your cultivation to early-stage holy venerate. That way you will not have much of an advantage. Father, don't worry. After all, I have been a late-stage holy venerate for many years. I am not someone that an ordinary holy venerate can contend with. Even if my cultivation is suppressed, killing him will be as easy as flipping my hand. Saint Venerable Blackbone was very confident. The other elders nodded as well. This was indeed their only chance to kill Lin Xian. After this round, it would be over. It would not be easy for them to make a move after this. After all, Peerless City would definitely protect these people. Very well. The Silver Corpse Holy Venerate thought for a while, and handed the Yellow Spring Mirror and the small cauldron to Blackbone. Take note of his soul. It is very strange. Father, don't worry. I will be fine. Blackbone nodded and walked out. Countless gazes focused on him. Some people exclaimed when they saw Saint Sovereign He Gu walk out. Heavens! It is actually him. He is the Silver Corpse's son. He is a late-stage holy venerate. Who is he going to challenge? Fu Hongya or Linghu Chuexiue? It must be one of the two. If these two people died, it would be a huge blow to Peerless City. The surrounding people discussed. Blackbone's eyes were filled with killing intent as he looked at Peerless City's side. Chapter 4273. Everyone was shocked when they heard that. They didn't expect that the opponent would challenge Lin Xian. Even the people from Peerless City were stunned. Their expressions became a little strange. There were rules in the competition. Late-stage Saint Venerables could challenge middle-stage Saint Venerables, but they couldn't challenge others. Lin Xian was just a peak minor saint. If he was a late Saint Venerable, he would have been able to kill Saint Venerable. If he wanted to challenge a late-stage Saint Venerables, he would have to suppress his cultivation. That way, he wouldn't have any advantage. He might not even be able to defeat a middle-stage Saint Venerables. Therefore, the people from Peerless City had strange expressions. The other people also began to discuss spiritedly. No way is this late-stage Saint Venerables crazy. If he challenged, he would be suppressed to early-stage Saint Venerables. He might as well send a middle-stage Saint Venerables. Who knows? Maybe he was too angry. Someone said, "Don't you know? This person is called Saint Venerables Blackbone. He is the father of Taisho. He is also the son of the Silver Corpse Saint King. His strength is not ordinary. Obviously, he wants to take revenge personally." What? The opponent has such an identity? Exclamations sounded, and their eyes shone brightly. After all, Taisho was killed. How could Saint Venerables Blackbone endure it? Even so, he didn't have a big advantage. Could it be that he had some trump card? Discussions broke out one after another. Saint Venerables Blackbone had a cold killing intent, but when he heard those words, he almost vomited blood. What do they mean? Are they looking down on me? Do they think I can't win? Damn it, what kind of joke is this? He roared, and his voice shook the 9 heavens. Kid, come out and accept your death. If you don't come out, I'll attack the people around you and let you know what despair is. Lin Xian was also very surprised. Is there finally a late-stage Saint Venerables Blackbone? To be honest, he wasn't afraid. However, when he heard the last sentence, his face sank again. The other party dared to attack his friends. He really didn't know what death was. Thinking of this, he stood up. You want to die? Fine, I'll fulfill your wish. This was the last round of challenges. If it ended, there would be no more challenges. He was originally thinking about how to deal a heavy blow to Acheron Hall, but he didn't expect the other party to take the initiative to come knocking on his door. Since that was the case, he wouldn't hold back. As you wish. Since you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish. Lin Xian strode forward. Countless people cried out in alarm. Was he really going to accept the challenge? Said Saint King Wushuang coldly. Saint King Hegu, according to the agreement, you have to suppress your cultivation level. He suppressed his cultivation to the early Little Saint realm. I'll give you one last chance to reconsider. Are you willing? There's no need to think about it anymore. Just do it. After saying that, Wushuang and Dual Saint Kings waved their hands and sent out a seal. He personally sealed the other party's cultivation. Soon, the other party's aura rapidly fell, directly falling to the level of an early-stage Holy Venerate. Sure enough, it was sealed. Countless people cried out in alarm. His aura had dropped significantly. Could the current him defeat Lin Xian? I don't think so. Xiao Chun could not even defeat middle-stage Holy Venerates. What more suppressing his cultivation? He wouldn't be insta-killed, right? Discussions broke out one after another. The expressions of the Yellow Spring Hall's people changed, turning extremely unsightly. Damn it! What's wrong with these people? Do they not have any confidence in us? However, to be honest, they also felt nervous. After all, their opponent was not an ordinary person. This was the legendary Lin Wudi. Several middle-stage Holy Venerates had died at his hands in the previous battles. How could they not worry about such a person? Lin Xian's lips curled up in a smile. To think that you dare to personally challenge me. You are really reckless. With your strength, you are not even comparable to that bastard Iron Arms. I advise you to obediently kneel on the ground and wait for your trial. That way you will suffer less. Despicable brat, I will let you know what regret and despair are. Right after Saint King Wushuang spoke, he attacked. He turned into a bolt of lightning and charged over. The void shattered in an instant as he charged towards Lin Xian. The surrounding people were startled. How could this be? How could Saint King Wushuang still be so strong? Didn't he already suppress his cultivation? The strength that Saint King Wuxia displayed was even stronger than that of a regular middle-stage holy venerate. Lin Xian was the same. A startling light shone in his eyes. Saint King Wuxia quickly moved back, and the place where he had been standing exploded. The entire arena shook violently, and a crack appeared. Saint King Wuxia was too strong. Everyone sucked in a cold breath. Earlier, they had mocked Saint King Wuxia, thinking that he had something wrong with his head for suppressing his cultivation. Who could have imagined that even after suppressing his cultivation, Saint King Wuxia was still so strong? Is this the Blackbone Holy Venerate? He is really too strong. Why do I feel that Lin Wudi is in danger? All of a sudden, all kinds of discussions changed again. Everyone started to worry for Lin Xian. Peerless City's people also sucked in a breath of cold air, feeling incredibly nervous. A late-stage holy venerate had many means. This was especially so for a peak late-stage holy venerate like Saint King Wuxia. Even if Saint King Wuxia suppressed his cultivation, he was still very strong. I wonder how junior brother Lin will block him. Fu Hongya, who was at the side, also said that if Lin Xian could last for 15 minutes, it would be a draw. Lin Xian stood in the air, frowning as he looked at the cracks below. Saint King Wuxia was much stronger than he expected. It looked like this would be a difficult battle. Brat, are you very surprised? Do you think that you can fight me just because I suppress my cultivation? You are too naive. I will personally capture you, and let you know what it means to live a life worse than death. As Saint King Wuxia spoke, an extremely terrifying aura burst forth again. Between the heavens and earth, a horrifying power spread out, causing the surrounding space to shatter continuously. Everyone's bodies trembled. They felt a cold aura appear. It was like the entire world froze. That cold and sinister law swept towards Lin Xian. It wanted to swallow up Lin Xian. A huge yellow springs diagram flickered continuously in the sky. When Lin Xian saw this scene, he roared furiously. The nine-yang divine body released resplendent golden flames, and turned into the image of a war god, roaring in the sky. When the war god threw a palm strike, several golden crows appeared and swept through the sky. Boom! Boom! The power of the physique clashed with the cold and sinister law, tearing the sky apart. Then the two clashed, creating a startling sound. The yellow springs diagram in the sky spun continuously as it was knocked back. As for Lin Xian, he was also knocked back, creating 5 black holes in the air. The surrounding people were all shocked. Lin Xian was knocked back. This was too inconceivable. After all, Lin Xian could kill middle-stage holy venerates with ease. Now Holy Venerate He Gu, whose cultivation was suppressed, was easily knocked back. How strong was this Holy Venerate He Gu? How terrifying was he? Chapter 4274. The people from Acheron Hall sneered when they saw this. What do these idiots know? Sovereign He Gu's strength was far beyond their imagination. Just wait and see. These people will know what a true expert is. The people from Myriad Demon City and Great Desolation Mansion sneered. This time they should be able to get rid of Lin Xian. Between heaven and earth, terrifying energy flowed wildly. The flames around Lin Xian surged and blocked the aftershock of the storm. His face turned cold. His opponent was indeed strong. Beneath him, Sovereign He Gu raised his head and sneered. How is it? Can you feel my strength? This was just a casual attack. Would you be able to block the next attack? As his voice faded, he raised his hand and made a grabbing motion in front of him. Suddenly, black flames appeared on his palm. Flames filled the sky and roared between heaven and earth. The surrounding cold aura exploded once again. This shocked everyone. One should know that flames were usually extremely hot and dazzling. But now, it was incomparably cold. What kind of flame was it? It was bone flame. Unparalleled Sage King frowned. This flame was extracted from the corpse of an expert. It was extremely strange as it could freeze the world. Lin Xian also noticed this. The black flames had the power of ice. In the next moment, he took a deep breath and activated the nine-yang divine body to the extreme. Golden flames danced around his body like a volcano. Then he slapped his palms downward. The golden palms and the black palms collided. It was like a god and the grim reaper from hell were fighting. A surge of energy surged rapidly at the place where the two of them clashed. The entire world was rapidly collapsing. The people around them were shocked by what they saw. This kind of strength was too strong. Seeing that his opponent could block it, Sovereign He Gu raised his head. His eyes were cold. No wonder his opponent could kill steel arms. He was indeed strong. However, his opponent was courting death. Since his opponent dared to destroy steel arm's soul, he dared to torture him for 10,000 years. He would let his opponent live in pain every day. Thinking of this, he snorted again and the power in his body exploded. The black flames became even more terrifying. At the same time, the flesh on his palm also disappeared. What replaced it was a black-colored bone. It was a black bone hand with flames dancing on it. Once again he grabbed forward. Boom, boom. An even more frightening cold aura gushed out, freezing everything in the surroundings and causing them to explode. This time, its power increased once again. The surrounding people were all going crazy. Could Yi Futian still increase his strength? Damn it! Wasn't he supposed to suppress his cultivation? The people from Peerless City were also shocked. Ling Hu Chuexue and the others cried out in alarm. Master, what was going on? Peerless Saint King said. It's impossible for him to break my seal. In other words, his cultivation was being suppressed. As for his power, that was the result of his divine ability and law. I can't interfere. Indeed, geniuses were able to fight above their level. Lin Xian was able to fight across terrifying realms. As for those of the older generation, they were also capable of doing so. Even with his cultivation suppressed, he wasn't someone who anyone could provoke. Saint Sovereign Black Bone was an example of this. The black bone claw seemed to split open the sky like a black mountain. It carried an extremely terrifying law of finance. In addition to the black flames, there was even the terrifying yellow spring water surging. When the people from the other sacred cities felt this power, their expressions changed. Even the eyelids of those mid-stage Saint Venerables twitched wildly. They definitely wouldn't be able to survive being hit by such power. No matter how strong Lin Wudi was, he probably wouldn't be able to resist it. Saint Sovereign Blackbone was wrapped in black flames, like the Grim Reaper from hell. He looked at the figure above and said in a cold voice, "Kid, it's over." Boom. The black hand soared into the sky. Lin Xian's eyes reflected the light. He naturally felt the terror of this attack. He took a deep breath and didn't dare to be careless. In the next moment, the 10 ultimate sword formation appeared and danced between heaven and earth. 10 sword chi, together with the law, kept falling down. It was like 10 divine swords piercing through the void. The 10 ultimate sword formation appeared. Lin Xian used his most powerful divine ability as soon as he came up. This surprised everyone. It looked like this was going to be a tough battle. However, those from the Yellow Spring Hall sneered. The 10 ultimate sword formation was strong, but it was not enough. It couldn't compete with Saint Sovereign Blackbone at all. If this kid didn't have any other trump cards, he was really dead this time. Lin Xian activated the breathing technique of the Dragon Clan. As the terrifying sword light circled around his body, a mysterious power flowed out and supported the formation. Immediately, the sword chi became terrifying again. The aura of the dragon Dao spread out, as if an ancient divine dragon had come back to life. At the same time, the aura of the great dragon sword soul also surged out. Dragon roars resounded. Lin Xian's body was surrounded by dragons, turning into a dragon shadow. At this moment, he was like a true dragon expert. A terrifying aura shook heaven and earth. Boom. Boom. The sword chi was incomparably strong. It blocked the black hand, causing the sky to collapse and the earth to crack. When the surrounding people saw this scene, they were all shocked. They didn't expect Lin Xian to be able to unleash such an aura. No wonder he had the ability to challenge the sacred city. Just as the crowd was discussing, the scene in the sky changed again. Lin Xian made his move. His palm grabbed forward. In the 10 ultimate sword formation, 10 sword lights turned into a divine sword, which he held in his hand. Then he slashed out with the sword. The whole world cracked instantly. There was no way to block it at all. Buzz. The sword slashed at the black hand. When the two collided, the black hand immediately sank, and the surrounding void kept shattering. In the boundless darkness, the light of the stars flickered. The sword directly pierced through the void. The surrounding people were stunned. Saint Sovereign Blackbone's face also changed. He didn't expect Lin Xian to be able to block it. Thinking of this, his eyes turned gloomy. Is he courting death? He stretched out his other hand, which was also pitch black. The aura of the yellow spring on it was even more terrifying. Could Lin Xian block both of his palms together? However, as soon as he stretched out his hand, the void behind him kept shattering. A taiji diagram appeared and shrouded him. Boom, boom, boom. The sky collapsed and the earth cracked. The terrifying golden light and the terrifying black aura spread together with the power of yin and yang. It caused the sky to turn into primal chaos. Not good. The Acheron Hall's face changed. It's the taiji diagram again. It was this attack that killed Taisho. Could it be? Is Saint Sovereign Blackbone going to follow in his footsteps? When the earth-shattering collision occurred, the people from the other sacred city also became nervous. Is the winner going to be decided? The power lasted for a long time before it slowly disappeared. Chapter 4275. Below, a figure emerged. It was Saint Master He Gu. At this moment, Saint Master He Gu was not in a good condition. There were many cracks on his body. It was terrifying. Many people gasped when they saw it. However, they were soon stunned, because they realized that there was no blood flowing out from the cracks. What's going on? Could it be that he's not injured? Even Lin Xian furrowed his brows. It was a very strange scene. Saint Master He Gu's face became extremely gloomy. In the next moment, he was furious. He waved his hands and tore the broken body apart. Then he threw it far away. The surrounding people were stunned. What is this guy trying to do? However, they soon found out what was going on. It turned out that a black skeleton emerged from the broken flesh and stood in the void. It was as if it was made of black gold. It was pitch black and exuded a terrifying aura. Saint Master He Gu had turned into a black skeleton. It couldn't be. Could it be that this was his true body? It was very likely that from his name, this was what he was best at. His physique. He was originally a skeleton. Exclamations could be heard. Kid, you're indeed strong to make me use my original body. However, this is the end. Saint Master He Gu's eyes were filled with terrifying killing intent. Lin Xian snorted and rushed over. He kept attacking like a peerless god of war. The surrounding people were all stunned. This holy sovereign He Gu had clearly become even stronger. However, Lin Xian still dared to attack. He was too bold. Lin Xian appeared above Saint Master He Gu like a golden lightning. He slapped his palm down. A terrifying power erupted. The flames on it intertwined and formed a sun. He held it in his hand. His other hand waved the 10 extinction swords and slashed down fiercely. Lin Xian knew that his opponent was a terrifying expert. He could not be judged by common sense. Therefore, he did not hold back. The golden sun continued to fall, shattering the void. On the other hand, the 10 extinction swords were destroying everything. Black Demon Spear. In the face of the attack, Saint Master He Gu sneered. His 2 arms turned into 2 black spears. The runes on them gathered and formed a terrifying power. The black spears flew out and collided with Lin Xian's superpower. The terrifying energy was like the destruction of the world. It spread out fiercely in all directions with terrifying fluctuations. Humph! In the violent impact, Saint Master He Gu revealed a sinister smile. He had absolute confidence in this battle. However, the next moment his pupils shrank. The reason for that was because he had discovered that the other party was also smiling amidst the torrential energy. What was going on? He furrowed his brows and snorted coldly. He didn't know what was going on. The power in his hands erupted once again, and the 2 black spears quickly moved. At this moment, even a middle-stage holy venerate would not be able to block the power of this attack. However, in the next moment, Saint Master's pupils shrank. This was because he discovered that his 2 black spears had actually collided with each other in an exciting manner. The power was He Gu's. His arm. What's going? He was Saint He Gu was He Gu. This was too unbelievable. Was the other party controlling his arm? How is that possible? This was Lin Xian's stellar transposition. After it worked, he quickly attacked again. Saint Master He Gu's spear was knocked back, and his face turned cold. However, he was not afraid. He opened his mouth and spat out endless yellow spring, forming a yellow spring waterfall in front of him. The yellow spring waterfall emitted a cold aura as if it had fallen from the netherworld. It was incomparably terrifying. The golden sun and the 10 extinction swords collided with it, creating an earth-shaking sound. However, it did not pierce through. Saint Master Hegu sneered. Kid, stop struggling. Even a mid-stage Saint Master can't break this yellow spring waterfall, let alone you. No way, he's so strong. Wouldn't he be in an invincible position? The surrounding people were also surprised when they heard this. Saint Master Hegu was really too strong. Lin Xian sneered. Is that so? You think too highly of yourself. If you were in your heyday, you might be qualified to say such words. But now, your cultivation is only at the early stage Saint Master. Look, I'll break you. After saying that, he directly struck out a Taiji diagram. The Taiji diagram kept spinning, forming a mysterious force that began to absorb the yellow spring waterfall. The yellow spring waterfall was stirred up by this force, spinning along with it. Then a black hole formed in the middle of the waterfall. How could it be? Holy Sage Blackbone couldn't believe it. His powerful defense had been broken so easily by the other party. In the next moment, a terrifying sword chi came out from the black hole again. Buzz. Saint Master Hegu quickly retreated. Obviously, he did not expect that. He even retreated a little slowly. The sword chi hit him, causing his body to shake and vibrate. Some parts even became dim, as if they were about to shatter. The people of Yellow Fist Palace also had ugly expressions after seeing this. They did not expect Lin Xian to be so strong that he could injure Saint Master Hegu. The surrounding experts of the sacred city were even more shocked. This guy was stronger than they had imagined. Saint Master Hegu only stopped after retreating a long distance. He suppressed the vibration of his bones. Then he raised his head, and his eyes were filled with extremely cold killing intent. It was too abominable. He did not expect that this little saint could pose such a threat to him. It was really out of his expectation. It seemed like he had underestimated his opponent. But so what? He snorted coldly. With a flip of his hand, a small cauldron appeared in his palm. The small cauldron swallowed the white bones and the yellow spring, bringing with it a terrifying aura. The surrounding people also changed their expressions because after taking out the small cauldron, Saint Master Hegu's strength had increased again, reaching a terrifying level. Even Lin Xian furrowed his brows. The people of Yellow Spring Palace also looked solemn. They did not expect to use the spirit exterminating cauldron. With Hegu's strength, it was hard to believe that he had to use such a trump card to deal with his opponent. But soon they all sneered. Since Saint Master Hegu had already taken out his trump card, everything would be over. The spirit exterminating cauldron could definitely erupt with unparalleled power in Hegu's hands. Saint Master Hegu would not be able to withstand it at all. The other sacred cities were also in an uproar. Some sneered, and some gasped. The people of Wushuang City were also worried. They could naturally feel a shocking power from the small cauldron. It was most likely an incredible treasure. This Hegu was really cautious. He was a late-stage Saint Master Hegu, but he still had such a treasure. In the arena, after Saint Master Hegu took out the spirit exterminating cauldron, a ferocious look appeared in his eyes. He poured his power and law into the spirit exterminating cauldron. Suddenly, the spirit exterminating cauldron shook non-stop. An endless yellow spring gushed out from it. It swept out as if it was going to swallow the entire world. Chapter 4276. The terrifying underworld spring quickly surged towards Lin Xian. Everywhere it passed, the void shattered and corroded. This power was too terrifying. Even a middle-stage Holy Venerate would not dare to take it head-on. Furthermore, the underworld spring moved extremely fast. In the blink of an eye, it arrived before Lin Xian and enveloped Lin Xian. Boom, boom, boom. The horrifying power struck Lin Xian. The terrifying underworld spring swallowed Lin Xian. Not good. That brat is in danger. Countless people exclaimed. In their opinion, even a middle-stage Holy Venerate would not be able to survive such an attack. The underworld hall's people revealed sinister smiles. This time, the other party is dead for sure. Holy Venerate Blackbone also had a sinister expression. However, This smile only lasted for a moment before it froze. This was because the underworld spring in front had split open, and a figure walked out forcefully. The figure flickered with golden light, surrounded by terrifying sword chi. Lin Xian used his strong power to shatter the underworld spring and walk out. His expression was incomparably cold. He came out? He did not die. The surrounding people exclaimed. The underworld hall's people also clenched their teeth. Damn it! This brat actually managed to block it. Holy Venerate Blackbone's face sank. The strength of the other party exceeded his imagination. He had not expected that even after taking out his trump card, he would not be able to injure the other party. Lin Xian's expression was cold as he stared at the small cauldron in the other party's hand. This attack was indeed very strong. If not for the fact that he had many cards, he would be in danger. Holy Venerate Blackbone also roared furiously, and used his full strength. He used all his strength to control the spirit extermination cauldron. Countless laws poured into the small cauldron, causing it to grow bigger. It became the size of a huge mountain. Countless underworld springs and white bones rushed out from it. It carried a terrifying aura that spread out in all directions. Then the large cauldron rolled and tilted, trying to suck Lin Xian in. This was simply an attack that could destroy the world. Clearly, Holy Venerate Blackbone was going to use his full strength. The middle stage Holy Venerates in the surroundings were horrified. Such an ancient magic attack was impossible to dodge. This time, the other party could really go to hell. The people of Acheron Hall heaved a sigh of relief. It wasn't easy at all. How many times had they fought? Finally, in the last round, they managed to kill the other party. The terrifying spirit extermination cauldron rushed towards Lin Xian with the aura of the yellow springs that could destroy everything. Sacred Venerate He Gu, who was controlling him, had an ugly expression on his face. His black body started to tremble slightly. Clearly, it was extremely difficult for him to use the full power of the Saint artifact with his current cultivation. However, he smiled. Because he knew that with his current strength, it was impossible for him to block this attack. It was impossible for the other party to block it. When such a terrifying aura appeared, the 9-yang divine flame on Lin Xian's body became dim. It was even extinguished. It was clear that this was a great crisis for him. He felt cold all over, as if he was about to enter hell. In the next moment he took a deep breath and did not dodge. Instead, he formed a seal with his palm. The surrounding people also sighed when they saw this scene. Had Lin Wudi already given up on resisting? It seemed that the other party knew that he was going to die, and had already given up resisting. Morong Qingqing and the others were extremely nervous. It shouldn't be. It was impossible for Lin Xian to not resist at all. It seemed that he was using some kind of trump card. Sure enough, in the next moment, Lin Xian's eyes erupted with an extremely terrifying light. A dragon-shaped sword shadow appeared in the 10 ultimate sword formation. As soon as this sword shadow appeared, it brought with it an extremely terrifying power that surged in all directions. Heaven and earth collapsed. The yellow springs were all blocked by this sword chi. The surrounding people exclaimed, "What the hell was this thing?" This sword shadow was too terrifying. Some of the sacred king's pupils constricted as an extremely cold light burst out from their eyes. It was this thing again. Previously, it was this sword that killed the Acheron Hall. Was the other party going to use it again? The people of the Acheron Hall became nervous. The Silver Corpse Sacred King said, "This sword was expected. The spirit extermination cauldron should be able to block it. As long as it could block this sword, that kid would be dead for sure." This was because they knew that after Lin Xian used this sword strike, he would not have any strength left. At that time, he would be an ant that anyone could crush. If the other party did not use this trump card, he might have a chance to escape. Once he used it, the other party would have no way out. Morong Qingqing, Shen Jingjiu, and the others were naturally nervous. They also knew that this should be the final strike. The victor should be decided soon. Lin Xian took a deep breath. His expression turned extremely grave. He wanted to use the Great Dragon Sword Soul at full power. He needed a lot of energy. Of course, this time he planned to change his plan and not use his own energy. Thinking of this, he took out 6 storage rings and let them float in the air. Then he crushed all the storage rings. Various treasures, divine crystals, and spirit herbs all floated in the air. There were so many that the eyes of the surrounding people turned red. Damn it, how could this brat be so wealthy? Even the middle stage holy venerates clenched their fists. The late stage holy venerates also took a deep breath. However, the holy kings frowned. What was this kid trying to do? Could it be? In the next moment, they saw a sky full of treasures, as well as all kinds of energy crystals, all surging toward the great dragon sword soul. The image of a dragon appeared on the great dragon sword soul, transforming into a dragon head. It opened its mouth and swallowed all the energy. Not good. He wants to use this energy to replace his own energy. Stop him. Holy King Silver Corpse shouted angrily. This way, as long as the other party had enough treasures, he would be able to use them continuously. That Holy Venerate Hegu had become dangerous. Holy Venerate Hegu naturally knew this. He snorted coldly and attacked with his full power. He would not give the other party a chance. Lin Xian's expression turned grave. A trace of pain appeared in his eyes. After all, with so many treasures, any holy venerate would be envious if he took them out. However, he now needed to use them all. Furthermore, he could only use the Great Dragon Sword Soul once. The Great Dragon Sword Soul was truly an invincible cave. Fortunately, if he could kill Holy Venerate Hegu, it would be worth it. In the next moment, he stretched out his hand and grasped the Great Dragon Sword Soul. The might of the 10 absolute swords also surrounded him. Lin Xian was like a peerless sword god. He slashed forward with his sword. A terrifying dragon-shaped sword image roared between heaven and earth. The people of the 3 dragons trembled. They could not help but want to kneel down and submit. What exactly was that? They were shocked. The other experts of the holy city were even more shocked. The dragon-shaped sword image brought about a great threat to everyone. The people of the Yellow Springs changed their expressions again. Previously, they had seen the shocking sword attack through the formation. Now they could feel the terrifying aura of the sword attack. They also sucked in a cold breath. They did not know whether the dragon-shaped sword or the spirit extermination cauldron was stronger. Chapter 4277. Under countless horrified gazes, the terrifying dragon sword collided with the extermination cauldron. Then, a destructive storm spread in all directions. The entire heaven and earth were completely covered, and everyone could feel a destructive power continuing to exist. Everyone was horrified. Other than the sage ruler, everyone else's pupils shrank. Even the sage ruler's face turned solemn. Clearly, it was a supreme treasure. Moreover, it was a supreme treasure that could grow. The more power he provided, the more powerful the explosion would be. This was something that even they were jealous of. At this moment, a murderous intent appeared in their eyes. They couldn't wait to kill Lin Xian and snatch this treasure. However, they held back. There was still a chance to kill him and snatch the treasure. There was no need to do it in the sacred hall. They couldn't see anything in front of them. There was only the sword light and the terrifying yellow spring. The yellow spring turned the entire world into hell. The surrounding people all retreated and stood behind the sage ruler. At this moment, only the sage ruler could withstand it. The two seemed to be in a stalemate. They were evenly matched. However, this situation didn't last long. The dragon roar sounded again. The sword slashed down. The endless yellow spring roared and a crack was torn open. Then, it became bigger and bigger and spread into the distance. Damn it, block it for me. Seeing this, Sage Ruler Blackbone roared crazily. He recklessly unleashed all of his power to defend himself. However, more and more cracks appeared. In the end, the yellow spring was split open. The sword slammed hard on the extermination cauldron. The extermination cauldron kept shaking and retreating. Sage Ruler Blackbone was also sent flying as if he was struck by lightning. He spat out mouthfuls of blood. Although he was a skeleton, he still had life. At this moment, his life force was decreasing rapidly. It was obvious that he was severely injured. The surrounding people of the sacred city were stunned when they saw this. They didn't expect the extermination cauldron to be at a disadvantage in the battle between the two treasures. Sage Ruler Blackbone was severely injured. Damn it! How was this possible? The elders of the Acheron Hall gritted their teeth and roared in disbelief. The Silver Corpse Sage Ruler's face was also gloomy. Could it be that he couldn't kill this kid in the end? Great, he won. The people of Peerless City smiled. This way Lin Xian shouldn't be in danger. However, Lin Xian didn't stop. He didn't just want to win. He wanted to kill his opponent. Only then could he severely injure the Acheron Hall and let the Silver Corpse Sage Ruler taste the pain. Thinking of this, he took out 6 storage rings and crushed them. The energy and treasures in them once again. The great dragon sword soul, which had lost its power, roared once again, surging between heaven and earth. Not good. The faces of the people from the Acheron Hall turned ugly. Was this brat crazy? Was he? The others were also shocked. They had used up too much energy these 2 times. It was simply unbearable. Who would have thought that this brat would actually put in so much effort? Damn it, I admit it. Blackbone Saint roared crazily. He was so arrogant that he directly admitted defeat. Clearly, this sword strike was enough to threaten his life. Lin Xian sneered. Admit defeat? But there was no such rule. Either you die, or you escape. The terrifying sword light slashed down. Sage Ruler Blackbone was scared out of his wits. Damn it, he turned around and ran. At the same time, he summoned the Spirit Extermination Cauldron to block in front of him. However, he knew that he couldn't block it. He had already tried before. Sure enough, the Spirit Extermination Cauldron was sent flying again. The sword didn't disappear. Although it consumed most of its power, the remaining aura could still kill him. No. Sage Ruler Blackbone roared. He couldn't escape. Damn it! With a single shout of anger, his aura grew without limit. Obviously, he wanted to break the seal. As long as he could return to his true strength, he could dodge the sword with his late-stage Saint Venerable cultivation. You want to tear the seal? Is that possible? Peerless Sage Ruler sneered. In the next moment, his figure flashed and rushed into the distance. The Silver Corpse Sage Ruler had made his move. The Silver Corpse Sage Ruler knew that Sage Ruler Blackbone couldn't escape from this sword. He wouldn't let Sage Ruler Blackbone be killed again. After all, Taisho had already died. He couldn't let Sage Ruler Blackbone die again. Just as he was about to make his move, a black vortex appeared and blocked his path. Wushuang, how dare you stop me? Do you want to die? Peerless Sage Ruler snorted. Since you're here, I'll kill you. He was extremely domineering. Last time, you attacked the people of Peerless City. This time, you'll have a taste of your own medicine. Boom. Ah. At that moment, a roar came from afar. The sword split the sky and earth, and it directly enveloped Sage Ruler Blackbone. Get lost. The Silver Corpse Sage Ruler was completely enraged. He made his move, and the entire sky and earth cracked. However, his opponent was Peerless Sage Ruler, who was equally terrifying. The boundless black vortex swallowed everything. Don't even think about making a move today. While the two of them were fighting, the outcome of the other battle had been decided. With the power of the Great Dragon Sword Soul, Sage Ruler Blackbone couldn't resist at all. When everything disappeared, not even a drop of blood was left behind. He had completely disappeared from this world. Ah! The Silver Corpse Sage Ruler roared into the sky. Die! The yellow springs surged in the sky, and a yellow quanta charged towards Lin Xian. Lin Xian's eyes narrowed. Was this guy going to attack him again? Peerless Sage Ruler roared. How dare you! The peerless sword descended from the sky and split the yellow springs diagram. Seeing that the two of them were about to explode, the other sage rulers also stood up. The Flying Sage Ruler, Desolate Sage Ruler, and the other sage rulers from the sage cities prepared to attack. The surrounding people went crazy. Was a war really going to break out? At that moment, a thunderclap sounded between heaven and earth, followed by countless rays of light. Like a divine palace, a palace appeared in the 9 heavens. It was just an illusion, but its aura made everyone tremble. Even the sage rulers' faces changed. They didn't attack again. Peerless Sage Ruler snorted. You've already attracted the Sage Hall. Do you still want to continue? The Silver Corpse Sage Ruler's face turned extremely ugly. He could already feel the terrifying aura from the Sage Hall in the 9 heavens. Even if he was a Sage Ruler, he couldn't stop it. In the next moment, he retracted the yellow springs and gritted his teeth. Just you wait. I'll definitely take revenge. Anytime. Peerless Sage Ruler snorted. Lin Xian, who was far away, also said, Why? Are you heartbroken? When you attacked me, did you think that you would end up like this? You only have yourself to blame for everything that's happening now. Ant. The Silver Corpse Sage Ruler was so angry that he vomited blood. He didn't think that a small ant would dare to be so arrogant in front of him. However, he couldn't attack with the Sage Hall here. So he snorted. He retreated. However, his face turned even colder. Lin Xian sneered. Chapter 4278. The battle had finally come to an end. However, no one had expected it to end in such a manner. Lin Xian was extremely powerful. He had even killed a late-stage Holy Venerate. His strength made everyone tremble. No one dared to make a move against him anymore. The following battles continued. They were equally exciting. This was the final round. Those who had a grudge against each other wanted to eliminate their opponents to weaken their opponents. There were even many late-stage Holy Venerates. However, the scene of Lin Xian fighting Holy Venerate He Gu still lingered in everyone's mind. That was because this battle was too shocking. It was enough to be recorded in history and become a glory. Finally, when the final battle ended, everyone heaved a sigh of relief. They knew that the second stage of the Tao discussion had ended. Those people returned to their respective holy kings. No one smiled. This was because every holy city had suffered great losses. When they had arrived, they had brought dozens of geniuses with them. However, what about now? Not many of them were left. Those who were still alive were injured. They were in a miserable state. Even more geniuses had fallen in this space. The Acheron Hall's side was in an even more miserable state. Only 5 people were left. The Thousand Demon City had 6 people left. The Great Desolate Mansion also had 6 people. The 10,000 Sword Pavilion's Lei Shuncheng was in a better state. There were only about 10 people left. However, compared to the previous battle, the spectacular scene made them go crazy. Their hearts were bleeding. The other holy cities had also suffered great losses. This time, they had killed until their eyes were red. Of course, the only side that was in a better state was Wushuang City. Wushuang City had a total of 11 people participating in the battle. Only one late-stage Holy Venerate had fallen. The other 10 people were still alive. However, they were all injured. Clearly, some of them were heavily injured. However, they were all laughing. This time, they could finally hold their heads high. Not only had they passed the second stage with the least losses, but they had also heavily injured their enemies. How could they not be happy? Hearing the laughter, the other holy cities' faces turned ugly. The laughter was like a slap to their faces. This was especially so for the Acheron Hall. The Thousand Demon Cities people had been plotting how to destroy Wushuang City. Now it looked like they had lifted a rock and smashed it on their own feet. The other side had not suffered great losses, but they had suffered great losses. Following that, the people who were still alive became excited, because they knew that the moment of reward had come. In the sky, the phantom of the lightning became more and more real, as if it had traveled through time and space. In the end, it appeared in front of everyone, causing countless people to feel incredibly excited. They knew that this was the Holy Hall, and that there were countless secrets within. The Saint Kings all stood up and spoke to the people around them. Next, you will enter the Sacred Hall and receive baptism there. This is an opportunity for all of you. How far you can reach will depend on your own luck. Hearing those words, the sages who had managed to reach their current level all became excited. The gazes of Peerless City's players were similarly fiery, but Lin Xian frowned slightly. Senior brother, what's inside the Saint Hall? Peerless Saint King said. It should be able to increase one's cultivation and laws. Hearing this, Lin Xian's little face fell. He laughed bitterly. I'm still suppressing my cultivation, not daring to break through. If we go in, I'm afraid I won't be able to suppress it. I'll give you a few things. As he spoke, Peerless Holy King tossed a storage ring to Lin Xian. Then he transmitted his voice to him. There's a devouring jade pendant inside. Wear it on your body, and it will form the law of devouring to prevent others from probing. There's also a devouring bottle that can absorb energy. Although you can't absorb it yourself now, you can guide this energy into the devouring bottle. When you reach planet Xiwan, you can use the energy inside to break through. Okay. Lin Xian nodded and heaved a sigh of relief. Then these people entered the sacred hall. The sacred hall descended from the 9 heavens, blooming with golden light, causing people to worship it. Everyone walked in anxiously. After entering, they realized that the terrifying laws of heaven and earth were covering the sky and earth. It surrounded them. The aura was abnormally terrifying. Many people's eyes instantly turned red. This was great. They could cultivate here for the time it took for an incense stick to burn. If they could rush to the outside world for 100 years, this was definitely a heaven-defying opportunity. No wonder the battle was so intense. If they knew that there would be such a reward, they would be able to accept such a tragic scene. In the next moment, these people all sat down cross-legged, allowing the terrifying aura to envelop their bodies. And they began to absorb it crazily. Lin Xian was also shocked. This place was even more terrifying than Mount Longhu and Mount Leiji. It was indeed the fortune of heaven and earth. He also sensed that although there was great fortune here, there was also danger. After all, there was a limit to what one could bear. If it exceeded what one could bear, the power would tear one's body apart. In the next moment, he took a deep breath and sat down cross-legged. He could feel a boundless aura surrounding him. It wanted to pour into his body. Lin Xian sighed. If he wasn't suppressed by the heavenly Tao, then he could absorb it crazily now. But now he couldn't. He took out the devouring bottle and used it to absorb the surrounding energy. Beside him, Ling Hu Chuexue, Fu Hongye, and the others did the same. They were also excited. Morong Qingqing and Shen Jingqiu's beautiful eyes were also shining. At this moment, everyone was trying their best to break through. After the time it took for an incense stick to burn, someone was pushed back. Damn it, I can't accept it. That person's face was pale. He could no longer absorb it. However, he had already obtained a day's worth of Xiaohua. At least his aura was much stronger than before. After the first person was sent out, the next person was sent out. These people went out and roared at the sky. However, the voice of the holy venerables came. In front of the holy hall, no one is allowed to be presumptuous. Hurry up and thank him. After those holy venerables heard it, their scalps went numb. They didn't dare to make a fuss anymore. Instead, they bowed respectfully outside. There were fewer and fewer people who could stay in the holy hall. Half a day later, more than half of the people came out. There were less than 30 people left. Among them, half of them were from Wushuang City. Countless people were shocked. However, gradually Shangguan Xiaoxian, Lu Yuan, and the others came out one after another. There were only about 10 people left in the holy hall. Among them were Lin Xian, Hongye, Morong Qingcheng, Gufeng, Chao Tiansheng, and the others. Qin Xiener and the others were all top-notch experts. However, in the end, these people all left. There were 3 people left in the holy hall. One was Lin Xian, the other 2 were Chao Tiansheng and Gufeng. The 3 of them were very strong. They persevered until the end. Morong Qingqing and the others all left. They didn't know what would happen to Brother Xian this time. They were all looking forward to it. At this time Gufeng opened his eyes. Countless spatial cracks appeared on his body. He sighed and looked at the 2 of them unwillingly. Then he shook his head and sighed. Gufeng also came out. Only these 2 guys were left. Exclamations sounded. Seeing that Lin Xian was still inside, the people on the first floor of the Yellow Springs Hall were extremely jealous. Damn it, this kid's talent is actually so good? They didn't expect that other than Lin Wudi, this Chao Tianqing was also so strong. Could it be that he was even more terrifying than Gufeng? Exclamations and discussions sounded. At this time, Lin Xian opened his eyes. He sensed that the devouring Aquarius was almost done absorbing. This was because a resisting force had appeared in the holy hall, preventing it from absorbing any more. He also sighed. It seemed that he had reached his limit. At the same time, Chao Tiansheng also opened his eyes. There were stars in his eyes. Chapter 4279. Lin Wudi, you were able to persist until the end. I was right about you. Chao Tiansheng looked at Lin Xian. Lin Xian also said that he was very mysterious. He was the only person he couldn't see through. Chao Tiansheng smiled. Since that was the case, why don't the 2 of them spar? The battle in the second stage was incomparable, but the 2 of them really didn't fight. It also made countless people sigh. Lin Xian was surprised. Here? Chao Tianxing said that it was naturally impossible to fight here. Why don't the two of them spar? Sure. Lin Xian was also eager to try. After all, he also wanted to find out how powerful this Chao Tianxing was. Thinking of this, he looked forward, and at the same time, Chao Tianxing's gaze also looked over. Stars flickered in their eyes. This was the sacred hall. The two of them naturally didn't dare to fight. However, the two of them were using their great Tao and will to fight. They used their will to construct a battlefield. Here, their will and great Tao were constantly fighting. This battle was really incomparably dangerous. Lin Xian found that the other party was even more terrifying than Gu Feng. The other party's palms dissolved everything. It was even more terrifying than stellar transposition. He even used the power of the great dragon sword soul, but found that he couldn't hurt the other party in a short time. There was a strange law around the other party that could dissolve everything. Even if his attack was unparalleled, the other party seemed to be able to withstand it. It was too magical. This Chao Tianxing definitely had a supreme inheritance. Who was the other party? What was this magic that could dissolve everything? Lin Xian felt that the other party was full of mysteries. On the other side, Chao Tianxing was also surprised. He naturally had a supreme inheritance. He didn't even take Gu Feng seriously, but what shocked him was that the other party was actually able to fight on par with him. It seemed that it should be the legendary offensive Saint Art. No wonder it was so difficult for me to dissolve it. He should be the successor of the great dragon. Chao Tianxing was also shocked. Now that he finally confirmed Lin Xian's trump card, he didn't attack again. Instead he said, "You're not bad. I look forward to a chance to fight." Lin Xian also retracted his will of the great path. This was a very powerful opponent. Now was not the time to fight. Both of them stood up and walked forward. The people outside were already waiting for them. At the same time, those who came out of the sacred hall also began to break through. After all, the time it took for an incense stick to burn inside was equivalent to 100 years of cultivation outside. These people had stayed here for a long time and had accumulated enough power. Therefore, they all began to make breakthroughs. There was a terrifying thunder tribulation between heaven and earth. Countless lightning bolts fell, and a few figures soared into the sky. It raised its head and roared. Although this was a great fortune, those who could break through in an instant were all experts among experts. For example, Gu Feng, Morong Qingqing, Shen Jingqiu, Guan Songhai, Qin Xiener, and the others were extremely terrifying. If they could successfully pass the tribulation, they would be able to reach the middle stage of the Holy Venerate realm. Before entering the Saint Hall, they were only at the early stage, but they were able to break through in a short period of time. This is simply a heaven-defying act. He wondered how strong the two people inside would be after they came out. Would they break through to the late stage directly? These people were extremely shocked. Not long after, he saw Lin Xian and Chao Tianxing come out. After coming out, Chao Tianxing bade farewell to Lin Xian and flew directly in the direction of the Limitless sect. He came to the side of the Limitless Saint King. In the next moment he whispered a few words. The Limitless Saint King nodded. Then he directly released a terrifying sacred domain, enveloping Chao Tianxing. Then he took the remaining people of the Limitless sect away. No one knew what he was going to do. Everyone guessed that Chao Tianxing was going to break through, but they didn't know why he left. Lin Xian looked at the other party's departing figure. His eyes flickered. He naturally knew why the other party left. It was because Chao Tianxing's breakthrough was too strange. He was going to enter the coffin directly. Such a scene would be seen by others. These people would probably be scared out of their wits. After Chao Tianxing left, countless eyes looked towards Lin Xian. This guy should have broken through, but they realized that Lin Xian's aura was still at the peak of the small saint realm. He didn't even seem to have broken through to the early stage of the sacred master realm. What's going on? Could it be that he didn't break through? That can't be. These people were all stunned. Perhaps it was not time yet. They continued to wait. However, half a month later, they fell into complete despair. They discovered that Lin Xian showed no signs of breaking through at all. After half a month, Gu Feng and the others all succeeded in their tribulations. After breaking through to middle stage Holy Venerate, They were even stronger than before. They were like two different people. Ark! Gu Feng roared at the sky. Countless spatial cracks appeared. At this moment, even the late-stage holy venerates showed grave expressions. This person was too strong. Not only did he grasp spatial magic, but he also grasped ancient inheritances. Once he fully erupted, he would be unparalleled. On the other side, Morong Qingqing, Qin Xiener, Guan Songhai, and the others all made breakthroughs. They became even stronger. Those holy cities rejoiced. This time, basically every holy city had people making breakthroughs. There were even people who broke through to late stage from middle stage holy venerate. This could be said to be the only consolation after the tragic deaths of the geniuses. These people were enough to make up for the previous losses. The remaining people of the Yellow Spring Hall, Great Desolate Mansion, and Myriad Fiend City also grew stronger. Some people even made breakthroughs. However, they were not happy. They looked at Lin Xian with piercing killing intent in their eyes. This brat did not make a breakthrough. It was a blessing in disguise. Next time they would definitely kill him. In the sky, Gu Feng also looked around, searching for traces of Chao Tianxing and Lin Xian. After half a month, the people of the Limitless sect returned. Chao Tianxing also appeared. The aura on his body had also become even stronger. Clearly, he also made a breakthrough. Ancient Wind could feel a strong sense of threat from the other party. A piercing light burst out of Gu Feng's eyes. Boundless spatial laws spread out. In the next moment, Gu Feng turned to look at Lin Xian. Then he was stunned. What's going on? Xiaochen did not make a sudden breakthrough. Xiaochen was actually still an early-stage small sage. Gu Feng did not dare to believe it. Gu Feng confirmed again. Then his lips curled up in a cold smile. Originally, I thought of you as an opponent. I thought that you were a powerful enemy. However, you did not even break through to early-stage holy venerate. How disappointing. A trash like you is not qualified to be my opponent. The moment Gu Feng said that, everyone sucked in a cold breath. Was Lin Wudi flying around? What kind of joke was this? How many holy venerates had Xiaochen killed? Even a late-stage holy venerate expert fell at Xiaochen's hands. If such a person was trash, then what were the others? Wouldn't they be worse than trash? However, the situation before them was extremely strange. This was because everyone who entered the holy hall grew stronger. Although not everyone had broken through, it was as if they were two different people compared to before. Only Lin Xian's aura did not change at all. How could this not be shocking and surprising? Chapter 4280. Facing Gu Feng's provocation and the others' puzzled expressions, Lin Xian was calm. He naturally knew his own problems, so he didn't care. When he reached planet Xiwan, he could break through together with the accumulated strength. At that time, these people couldn't even imagine how strong he would be. So Lin Xian said indifferently, "If you were so confident, you should have challenged me earlier. But why didn't you dare to? In the end, you just weren't confident. Don't think that you can be arrogant in front of me just because your strength has increased. If you're really not convinced, we can fight." Speaking of which, Lin Xian's eyes exploded with a terrifying killing intent. Suddenly the sky fell and the earth cracked. A terrifying aura swept in all directions. The surrounding people went crazy. One had to know that Gu Feng wasn't weaker than Lin Xian, especially now that he had broken through to the middle stage. Just how terrifying was this kind of strength? But Lin Xian wasn't afraid and even wanted to fight. Where did he get his confidence from? Is that so? I also want to see how strong a trash like you is. Gu Feng's eyes exploded with killing intent. It seemed that he wanted to fight too, because he felt that this was a good opportunity to get rid of Lin Xian. But at this time a Sage King said, "Stop first. The Sage Dao discussion isn't over yet. There's still the third round." Hearing this, Gu Feng stopped in his tracks. The others were also stunned. It's not over yet? How could it be? They had already entered the Sage Hall and obtained great fortune. Their cultivation had even increased by a few thousand years. This was simply a miracle. Now these people were saying that it wasn't over yet. What was next? Was there an even greater fortuitous encounter? These people were all excited. The Sage Kings also said coldly, "Yes, there's still the third round. There, You might be able to obtain greater fortuitous encounters. You might even soar to the sky. In the future, breaking through and surpassing Sage Kings won't be a problem. As soon as these words came out, everyone was shocked. Was it possible to surpass Sage Kings? To be honest, Sage Kings were the top existences in the second astral realm. Surpassing Sage Kings should mean leaving the second astral realm. Thinking of this, their eyes were filled with yearning. They naturally knew that outside the second astral realm, there was an even bigger world. The Great Sage and the legendary Great Emperor would display their might in that world. However, the second astral world also had its own barriers. Even Saint Kings were unable to break through and head to the other astral worlds. Now that they had such an opportunity, how could they not be excited? Now everyone follow us to the sanctuary. The Silver Corpse Holy King also shouted. As the host, he naturally had to continue with the rest of the journey. However, the 5 people from Acheron Hall beside him had already started to gather. The rest of the holy cities also gathered. Gufeng looked at Lin Xian and sneered. Brat, your luck is really good. However, in the 3rd stage, I will personally deal with you. I will show you the difference between us. Is that so? I am looking forward to it. Lin Xian's eyes were also shining brightly. If he guessed correctly, this 3rd stage should be related to planet Xiwan. If he could return to planet Xiwan, then he would no longer need to suppress his cultivation. At that time, would he still be afraid of Gufeng? Everyone followed the Holy King into the Holy Hall. There was no one else in the trial space. There was only the shining palace in the sky and the broken ground. This was a cruel elimination. Those who died were buried here. And the victors would ascend to the Holy Hall and enter the unknown space. Those who were watching the battle outside were also stunned. What is going on? Are these people leaving? At the same time, the bodies of the saint rulers outside the trial space also disappeared. The other people from the holy cities were all shocked. Where did they go? The elders shook their heads. We don't know either. Only those who have successfully passed the first 2 stages and are still alive can enter. Once they left, some of them never appeared again. Although some came back, some disappeared again in a short period of time. Even those who stayed behind kept their mouths shut and didn't mention those things at all. Hence, where exactly the 3rd view was a mystery. As soon as this was said, all the spectators in the second astral world were stunned. The people from the star worlds were all guessing. Where are these people going? Those who entered the Holy Hall, other than the Holy Kings, only those who survived and won, added up to a total of 150 people. 20 factions, 150 people. It was a very small number. These were the top geniuses of the second star system. No one was more talented than them. These people carried the hope of the great sage cities as they traveled through the starry sky. Although they were all very curious, where are they going? What would the 3rd stage be like? No one dared to ask. The atmosphere in the Holy Hall was unusually tense. The Holy Kings also kept quiet. However, the eyes of the people from the Acheron Hall flickered. This was because the Holy King of the Acheron Hall was transmitting a message to them. The Silver Corpse Holy King said, "If I'm not wrong, Lin Wudi can't break through to become a holy venerate because he was abandoned by the heavens. In other words, this is the end of his path. When the 3rd stage comes, all of you will work together to kill him. You must kill him completely." Hearing this, the 5 people from the Acheron Hall clenched their fists. They must take revenge. The people from the Great Desolate Mansion and the Demon City also received the order. They knew that Lin Xian's path had come to an end. He could not take another step forward. As for them, they had unlimited hope. They could even surpass the Holy Kings. Just thinking about it made them excited. Lin Xian's expression was incomparably calm. He sat down cross-legged and his soul entered the dream leaf. He began to refine his laws and superpowers. He knew that the Holy Kings would not dare to make a move here. Therefore, he was extremely safe. The dream leaf was still as mysterious as ever. However, Lin Xian had used too much of his soul energy earlier. Now there were not many souls left in the dream leaf. Lin Xian did not plan to use those souls again. After all, once he used them, the dream leaf would shatter. He could no longer deduce laws and superpowers. Therefore, he wanted to preserve the dream leaf. At this moment, he began to practice the last few moves of the Tiger Demon Fist. These were all killer moves. Lin Xian also felt that the 10 Fatality Sword formation could be further improved. Previously, in the second stage, it was his first time using it. There were still many areas that he needed to improve. Just like that, they stayed in the Holy Hall for an unknown period of time. All of a sudden, the Holy Hall trembled slightly. Everyone who was cultivating opened their eyes, and a look of confusion appeared on their faces. Chapter 4281. The Saint Kings stood up. They knew that no one was attacking them. They had arrived. There was no need to panic. The Saint Kings spoke. The surrounding disciples calmed down. After a while, they found that the vibration had disappeared. They were all surprised. After waiting for a while, the door of the Saint Hall opened. They looked outside. They found that they had come to an extremely vast world. The aura here was extremely mysterious, with a primitive power. Where was this? These people were surprised. The Saint Kings walked out. They were on one side of the sky. They looked around and said, "Come out." The people in the Saint Hall walked out and looked around in surprise. "Where is this?" Lu Xuanxin asked in surprise. The Divine Ghost Sword Saint said. This was the primordial star, also known as the true spirit world. What? Planet Xiwan. The surrounding people were all stunned. This was the legendary true spirit world. They had actually come. Lin Xian also took a deep breath. There was a hint of excitement in his eyes. After so many years, he had finally returned to this world. He wondered how the people in this world were doing. In this world, the only thing he cared about was the limitless palace. Other than that, his friends had also stepped onto the ancient star road like him. Now Morong Qingqing and Xin Jingqiu had come back with him. Sure enough, the two fairies' eyes flickered. Obviously, they were also emotional. You're finally here. At this moment, a cold voice sounded between heaven and earth. Then a few figures flew over from afar. One of the silhouettes was abnormally old. He had an imperial aura around him, which was extremely terrifying. Obviously, his strength had reached an unparalleled level. The surrounding people were talking about who this person was. Was he an expert on planet Xiwan? He was too powerful. However, Lin Xian and the others frowned. What was going on? One had to know that when they left, there were saints in the true spirit world, but there were not many. Now one of them had reached the Saint King level. Could it be that there had been a big change here? In particular, what surprised Lin Xian was that he found that the clothes these people were wearing were very ancient. Could it be that it was also a living fossil that had been revived recently? He was really too surprised. At this moment, the Silver Corpse Holy King walked over and said respectfully, "Royal Father." What? The surrounding people were all stunned. The Silver Corpse Holy King actually called him father. Who exactly was this person? His strength was too terrifying. However, why did it look like he was only a Saint King? They really did not understand. Peerless Saint King and the others frowned. The old man glanced at Silver Corpse Saint King. Su then looked around and frowned. Why were there only 5 people? The Silver Corpse Saint King's expression changed. He gritted his teeth and said, "Something happened and we suffered heavy losses. What's going on? Aren't you the host of this event?" The old man's frown deepened. "It's a long story. I'll tell you later, father." Lin Xian was extremely shocked. Who was this person? Also, who exactly was the Silver Corpse Holy King? Lin Xian asked Peerless Saint. Peerless Saint King also frowned. This old man was from the quintessential world. He came from the primordial grotto. This time the Saint King was his son. Back then the Silver Corpse Saint King was also very strong. He was a top genius. However, he was killed later on. Then the old man hid him in the Yellow Springs and continued to cultivate. He had used a different method to survive and become a Saint King. The primordial grotto. Lin Xian was stunned when he heard that. Back then, this place was like a forbidden area. Like the nest of 10,000 dragons, it was an existence of the primordial race. Could it be that the Silver Corpse Holy King was also from the primordial race? No wonder he was so strong. He actually had a lot to do with the quintessential world. This old man was called Spirit Saint King. This time he did not come alone. He also brought many people with him. There were about 15 of them, each of them top experts and geniuses. This was a very large force. In addition, there were 5 people from the Acheron Hall. In other words, the Acheron Hall had about 20 people. It was double the number of people from Peerless City. They were originally at a disadvantage, but they once again gained the upper hand. It was really shocking. This was not over. Another group of people descended from the other side of the sky. These people's auras were equally powerful. The people in the lead made the saints from the second astral realm exclaim again. Especially Lin Xian, his pupils constricted. He saw familiar people. They were from the Qingqiu clan. They actually came here? What was going on? They did not come through the sacred hall. It was really strange. The people who came were from the Qingqiu clan. Leading them were the Saint King and Saint Queen. Behind them were also some young geniuses. However, other than that, there were also some figures. There was even a Saint King. This was incomparably unfamiliar. Lin Xian looked at the other party's clothes and was surprised. It was the clothes of the Ninely clan. The Ninely clan was a top force back then. They were very powerful. However, now that a Saint King had appeared, it was really surprising. The quintessential world was one of the 2 special worlds in the myriad worlds. It was definitely not as simple as one imagined. There were endless secrets buried here. And there were also endless experts. However, this place was very magical. After tens of thousands of years, it would reach its peak, then decline again, and the cycle would repeat. When you were here back then, it should be the process of gradually recovering from its decline. After you left, the recovery of this place greatly increased. Therefore, these Saint Kings also repeated. Some walked out of the divine crystal and fell into a deep sleep for an unknown number of years. There were also some who had obtained great fortunes due to the great changes in the world and directly broke through to become Saint Kings. Lin Xian was also greatly shocked after hearing. No wonder. It seemed that the quintessential world had already undergone an incredible change. However, the Qingqiu clan and the Ninely clan walking together still shocked him. It seemed that there should be some kind of connection between the 2. Actually, it was not just the Qingqiu fox. Lin Xian discovered that the other saint cities were also connected to the quintessential world. For example, the Kunlun Pavilion was connected to the Jade Pool. The people from the Jade Pool also came and gathered together with the Kunlun Pavilion. This made Lin Xian shocked again. In addition, the people from the Gu clan also came. They met up with Gu Feng. Lin Xian took a deep breath. It seemed that the saint cities of the second astral realm were connected to the quintessential world. It was really unbelievable that the saint cities of the second astral realm were inextricably linked to the quintessential world. The Qingqiu clan Saint Kings and Saint Empress all looked at Qin Xianer. They wanted her to come over. However, Qin Xianer stayed beside Saint King Luyue. This surprised everyone. It seemed that Qin Xianer should be from the Qingqiu clan. However, why did she not dare to go over? Was she afraid of something? This scene made the Saint Empress's eyes burst with a cold light. Chapter 4282. But Queen Lianyue wasn't worried, because they also had people coming to help them. That was the Moonflower Palace. Seeing this, the people from the Ninely dynasty all had dark expressions. They didn't continue to attack. Seeing that almost everyone had arrived, Saint King Yanling from the ancient grotto said, "Let's go." As he spoke, he rose into the air, and the people around him followed. Everyone entered the sacred hall again and flew. Not long after, they stopped again. When the sacred hall opened, Saint King Yanling walked out first, followed by the others. This time, they felt an even more terrifying aura. This was Lin Xian, and he was also very surprised. There were 100,000 mountains in front, and there was indeed a valley in the mountains. It was very mysterious, and there weren't any demon beasts there, not even a plant. It was really strange. Saint King Yanling landed. Then he strode forward, and it seemed like he was going to the valley. But he didn't dare to fly, so it was obvious that there was something in front of him that made him afraid. The others also held their breaths and followed carefully. When they finally arrived in front of the valley, Saint King Yanling stopped and said in a low voice, "The sacred hall has opened, and we are here to welcome the protector." Who was the protector? Lin Xian and the others were surprised, but they didn't say anything. A figure slowly walked out of the valley in front of them. That person was wearing an ancient Taoist robe, and his face was cold. He stood there like the divine king, looking down on everything. At this moment, the surrounding saint kings all shouted respectfully, greeting the reincarnation protector. The surrounding saints were all stunned. Heavens, to be able to make saint kings bow their heads. What kind of cultivation level was this protector at? Could it be the great sage? They couldn't believe it. Wasn't this a little too powerful? The reincarnation protector raised his head, and the stars in his eyes disappeared. He looked at the crowd. Then he smiled, and the number of people this time was more than he had imagined. It was really gratifying. His voice was very low. Everyone felt their scalps go numb, as if all their secrets had been seen through. All right, let me do it. With that, he turned and walked towards the valley. Saint King Yanling took a deep breath and followed him. The others also followed suit. After Lin Xian and the others entered the valley, Lin Xian and the others followed suit. He could sense that the aura here was even more profound and mysterious. It was as if the universe had been turned upside down. The reincarnation protector said. The third stage of the Tao discussion was about to begin. I will send you into a strange world. And what you need to gather is the Sage King's will. This was something formed by the combination of the Great Tao and the Sage King's own power after his death. As long as you can collect them, you will pass the third stage. Furthermore, possessing him was equivalent to possessing the key to the hidden Emperor Star. As soon as he said that, everyone was shocked. Could a sage ruler's will lead one there? That was the place where countless great emperors were buried. Legend had it that it was a holy land of martial arts. If they could go there, they might really be able to surpass Saint Kings. For a moment, the eyes of these people turned red. The reincarnation protector did not say anything else. He formed a seal with his palms, and terrifying laws began to circulate around his body. In the next moment he pressed his hands on the ground, causing the earth to tremble. A black shadow rose from the valley. It was abnormally terrifying. It was a pagoda. There were 6 doors on the pagoda, and each door had a sinister face painted on it. It was abnormally terrifying. The 6 doors seemed to lead to 6 worlds. 6 paths of reincarnation. The reincarnation protector continued to form seals, and a terrifying power erupted. The 6 doors kept flickering with light. One of the doors directly opened. The reincarnation protector said that they could enter now. Hearing this, everyone took a deep breath. The people from the immemorial grotto took the lead and entered. After them was the Acheron Palace. When the others saw this scene, they did not hesitate and entered one after another. In the next moment, they felt the world spinning as they were teleported away. That power completely enveloped them. When everything disappeared, Lin Xian and the others found that they had arrived at another place. This was no longer a valley, but an incomparably dark land. It was blood red. Some of the mountain ranges carried a shocking killing intent. This place was like an ancient battlefield where countless experts had fought and killed each other. It was even more terrifying than the space formed in the second stage. Previously, countless geniuses had fallen in the second stage, but they were only sacred venerables. And those who had fallen here were very likely sacred kings or even more powerful. Moreover, there was more than one sacred king. Otherwise, the reincarnation protector would not have let them collect the will of the sacred kings. All of a sudden, a dense fog appeared in the surroundings, causing the entire world to become hazy. They could not see the scene in the distance clearly. Some people were shocked. Be careful. They held their breaths and activated their laws to resist. Lin Xian's eyes also erupted with a golden light. They walked forward. Suddenly, the sound of bones breaking came from under their feet. Lin Xian lowered his head and found that they were stepping on white bones. Moreover, these bones carried extremely powerful Tao runes. It was obvious that these were the bones left behind by a powerhouse. However, it was unknown how many tens of thousands of years had passed. These bones had long been shattered and could not withstand their power at all. These people continued to walk forward. Suddenly, Lin Xian's pupils constricted. At the same time, Yurua also cried out in alarm. Stop. Hearing this, the people from Peerless City stopped. They frowned and asked, what's going on? Linghu Chuexiue and the others were also puzzled. The surrounding people also cried out in alarm. Among them, some people who were proficient in illusion said, "Don't go, there seems to be something ahead." Some people struck out their laws, and a terrifying gust of wind swept out, blowing away some of the fog. They saw that in front of them, there were many spiritual tombs, and those tombstones were like small mountains. It was very strange, and the aura that they carried was as terrifying as a barrel. Obviously, those buried here were all terrifying powerhouses. Who was buried here? Could it be a sacred king? Some people cried out in alarm. At the same time, their eyes turned red. What the reincarnation protector had asked them to find was the will of the sacred king. Now that they had just arrived, they could see the tomb of the sacred king. It was really great. However, Yurua and the others were frowning. Holy kings were extremely powerful. Even if they died, they would not be weak. Their tombs were not so easy to break into. Lin Xian's expression was even uglier. He said, "Everyone pay attention. We are surrounded. Look around." They looked carefully. They found that the tombs around them had formed an encirclement, firmly enveloping them. What was going on? Why was this place so terrifying? Some people's faces turned pale. Lin Xian's eyes burst with a piercing cold light. He found that the area they were in was indeed surrounded by countless tombs. In this area, there were two other things besides them. One was an ancient altar that stood there silently. The other was a small hut. Obviously, someone had lived there before. Was someone guarding the tomb here? He was really too surprised. Lin Xian guessed that the reincarnation protector's 6 paths of reincarnation should have sent them to an ancient battlefield. And this ancient battlefield was very likely a forbidden area of the true spirit world. It was also possible that it was not in the true spirit world. Lin Xian even guessed that the 6 paths of reincarnation might be able to reverse time and space. Of course, he felt that this was not very possible. But no matter what, their current situation was not very good. This was because Lin Xian could feel an inexplicable sense of nervousness. Chapter 4283. Ka. Just at this moment, the ground around them trembled. The ground split open, and skeletons crawled out of the ground one after another. These skeletons gave off terrifying pressure. Clearly, they were holy venerates. Black flames flickered in their eyes as a terrifying aura emanated from them. It can't be right? The surrounding people all sucked in a breath of cold air. What should they do? Should they leave or finish off these skeletons? Just as Xiao Chen's group was caught in a dilemma, the skeletons attacked. 2 skeletons charged at Lin Xian. Both skeletons were middle-stage holy venerates. This was a great threat to regular holy venerates. However, it was still fine. These people had experienced the baptism of the holy halls before, and their cultivations had increased significantly. Otherwise, they might not have been able to resist the skeletons. On Lin Xian's side, he instantly faced 2 skeletons. The 2 gave off boundless killing chi. The terrifying world shook as the 2's palms turned into sabers and chopped at Xiao Chun. Lin Xian snorted coldly. Middle stage holy venerates? His figure flashed as he quickly left. At the same time, he unleashed his 9-yang divine body. Divine flames surged into the sky, forming a sun. This sun pressed down from the sky. Boom. The 2 skeletons were suppressed in an instant. Their bodies were trembling nonstop. The 9-yang divine flame spread out, encasing the 2. In the next moment, the 2 burned. Xiaochen dealt with them so quickly. The surrounding people were shocked. This was too inconceivable. These skeletons were the equivalent of 2 middle-stage holy venerates. Could it be that the other party became stronger? It was him. The other party clearly did not increase his cultivation. These people gritted their teeth. Some people showed cold expressions. The other party possessed the 9-yang divine flame. The 9-yang divine flame was extremely tough and had an innate restraining effect on other cold things. That was why the other party was so strong. Lin Xian had just finished off 2 skeletons when another 3 charged over. Lin Xian snorted coldly and executed the 10 senses sword formation. A terrifying sword chi chopped apart the 3 skeletons. The other people were also incredibly strong, slowly shattering these white skeletons. However, these white skeletons shattered and reformed, forming even more powerful existences. For example, When Lin Xian killed 9 skeletons, these 9 skeletons regrouped to form a skeleton that was even more powerful. Even Lin Xian was shocked. In fact, he was even forced back by the palm strike. It was too strong. Could these skeletons recombine with each other? Lin Xian saw that the 9 skeletons had 9 skulls with black flames dancing on top of them. The 9 arms descended and enveloped the entire area. The laws contained within the arms even suppressed the 9 yang divine flame. Lin Xian coldly snorted. Tiger Demon Fist. A terrifying aura erupted. On the other side, his palm was drawn in the shape of a golden crow. It opened and closed, and the 10 ultimate sword formation erupted with unparalleled power. He and the 9-headed skeleton fought fiercely. The Tiger Demon Fist carried an indomitable force as it smashed into the skeleton's body, causing it to retreat. Then, the golden flames burned fiercely and engulfed the other party. The black flames on the other party's body were suppressed and kept cracking. 10 streaks of sword energy pierced through the bodies of these people. Next, Lin Xian and the others continued to fight. However, these white skeletons were endless. They could only be scattered, but they could not be completely destroyed. Once they were scattered, these white skeletons could be reborn again. They were simply impossible to kill. Gradually 1 day, 2 days, 3 days passed. These people were exhausted. There were also some experts who were injured. After all, no matter how strong they were, there was no limit to their strength. Even Lin Xian's face was pale. What was going on? What was going on? What was going on? Thinking of this, he coldly snorted and slashed 2 skeletons with his sword. Then he strode forward. Unless they made a move on the ancient tombs or the ancient altar, they wouldn't be able to do anything. Ordinary altars had extraordinary meanings. Therefore, he felt that the secret might be there. Lin Xian swept through everything. His powerful strength suppressed everything. He charged forward forcefully, and the laws on his body continued to erupt. The dragon's roar resounded through heaven and earth. After half a day, he finally reached the front. He was only 10 meters away from the ancient altar. In front of him, there were only 3 skeletons left. For Lin Xian, this was not a problem. He was about to attack, but at this moment, a low and strange voice sounded. "All right, all of you stop now." As soon as this voice sounded, everyone's hair stood on end. Was there anyone else here? It was obvious that this was not their companion, nor was it a protector, nor was it a sacred king. Who was it? Was there anyone else here? Did it come from the ancient tomb? Lin Xian's pupils also shrank. He was facing a great enemy and did not make a move. Following this sentence, the surrounding white skeletons continued to shatter. They sank back into the ground. It was as if nothing had happened. Everyone was shocked. Who could have such a method with just a sentence? Lin Xian's eyes bloomed with golden light. He stared at the stone house. He knew where the voice came from. The next moment he saw an old figure walk out from inside. There was actually someone here. When the powerhouses of the other sacred cities saw this scene, they were also shocked. No way, why didn't they sense it before? One had to know that they were all sacred venerables, and there were many late-stage sacred venerables. If there was someone here, they would definitely know. In the next moment, they looked carefully and then gasped. They realized that there was no aura on the old man's body. No wonder they couldn't sense it. In that case, was the old man alive or dead? If he was alive, why was there no aura on his body? If he was dead, why was he still alive? The world has changed, and the sun and moon have rotated. I didn't expect that someone would come after so long. It's really surprising. This voice was filled with power. The old man opened his eyes, and his gaze shrouded Lin Xian and the others. Everyone sucked in a cold breath. What did this old man mean? What was there to be happy about? The old man was as thin as a skeleton. Fortunately, the old man still had flesh and blood, but it was very little. There were really many people here this time. It seemed that they would be able to have a good meal this time. As soon as he said that, everyone was shocked. Could it be that the old man wanted to eat them? Even Lin Xian looked solemn. The old man didn't care about the fear of the crowd. His eyes flickered, and then he pointed at Lu Xuanxin. "Come over here." Lu Xuanxin's heart skipped a beat, and she was about to cry. Was this old man going to eat her? The people of the 10,000 Swords Pavilion also walked up and said, "What are you trying to do?" The old man smiled and said, "Why? Are you worried? I just want her to fetch some water for me." "Old man, I haven't eaten for so many years and I'm hungry. Fetch water? I'll help you." A genius of the 10,000 Swords Pavilion said, "Where is it?" The old man pointed at a wooden bucket beside him and said, "Where is the bucket? Where is the water?" This time he was pointing at a tomb. "Whether you can get it out or not depends on your ability. However, I don't think you can do it." Hearing this, the genius was furious. Wasn't it just fetching water? What was impossible about it? He snorted coldly, grabbed the wooden bucket, and walked towards the tomb. Chapter 4284. Not long after that person went in, he came out. Half of his body was gone, and blood was flowing. His face was filled with fear. At the same time, everyone saw some yellow spring water in the cracked tomb. Heavens, is the so-called fetching some water the yellow spring water? Go and light the fire for me. Then he pointed at another person. This time he was pointing at the people from the demon city. The people from the demon city snorted coldly. "Why?" he asked through gritted teeth. "Because of this." A terrifying killing intent erupted from the old man's eyes. Immediately, the body of the person from the demon city shattered and turned into snow mist. His soul screamed in horror. "Are you qualified now?" the old man asked. The soul in the sky nodded frantically. "Yes. I'll go and light the fire for you now." The old man pointed at the others. "Go and chop some wood for me." In the end, these people began to take action. There was nothing they could do. This old man was really too strong. Soon, an earth-shattering vibration sounded. This was not the outbreak of a battle, but someone was chopping a tree. However, that tree had a cold aura and grew in the tomb. That was the Suzuki tree. After tens of thousands of years, even a mid-stage Saint Venerable could only make a small crack on it. In other words, the full-strength attack of a Saint Venerable could only make a crack. It would take half an incense stick to burn to make it crack. The face of the person whose body had been destroyed earlier was even more unsightly. If he wanted to light such a tree, he would have to vomit blood. "What should I eat?" The old man looked into the distance and stretched out a large hand to grab the void. It extended for tens of thousands of miles. Not long after, he retracted his palm. A huge creature was brought back by him and fell to the ground. The world shook nonstop. Everyone was horrified. Then they gasped. The creature that was caught was a demonic beast that had reached the level of a small saint. It could dominate a region outside, but it could only become food in the mouth of others here. Next, everyone was assigned a task. Even Lin Xian and the others were assigned a task. These people did not resist but did as they were told. They originally thought that they could leave by pleasing this old man. However, after the old man finished eating, he said, "Not bad, you guys are very obedient. Since that's the case, then stay by my side and help me do these chores every day." "What?" Hearing this, everyone became angry. What kind of joke was this? Originally, these people could still leave. However, if the other party wanted to force them to stay here, they would not agree. Someone sneered and left. These people flew into the sky, and the old man formed a seal with his palm. All of a sudden, the surrounding curtains split open, and terrifying phantoms flew out from within. There was the terrifying Yellow Springs water and a white bone claw. There were even headless riders and demonic beasts with broken wings. What a terrifying fairy. Those figures were like gods of war. These phantoms should have filled the world. It emitted an extremely terrifying aura that enveloped all the people around it. The surrounding people were so scared that their scalps went numb. They instantly retreated. In the sky, those terrifying phantoms floated up and down, as if they could suppress everything. The elder laughed. "How is it? You still dare to resist? If you stay here obediently, I won't kill you. Otherwise, I'll kill you. These tombs might be the places where you fell." After saying that, he sneered and went into the stone house to rest. The faces of the people outside turned ugly. Damn it, what should they do? Some people gritted their teeth. Among them, the people from the ancient grotto snorted coldly. What kind of joke was this? How could we be trapped by the other party? These people prepared to attack. The other people from the holy city were also prepared to attack. They clashed with those terrifying phantoms. Instantly, a great battle broke out. But not long after, they despaired because they realized that they couldn't break out of the encirclement. These phantoms were really too terrifying. He must have been an incredible figure when he was alive. Even if he was dead, he could still use some great divine abilities. Damn it, they were unwilling to accept this. At this time, the people from the ancient grotto said, "This place is too strange. I think this old man is the key. When he comes out tomorrow, we'll directly kill this old man. Without him, I don't believe that these phantoms will appear again." All right. The people from the Yellow Springs Hall nodded. The other people from the Holy City also prepared to join forces to kill that mysterious old man. On the other side, Lin Xian also gathered quite a few people. Among them, Morong Qingqing asked Brother Xian, "What should we do?" Lin Xian said, "I have a feeling that this place isn't ordinary. It's better not to act rashly. Let's take a look at the situation first." Lin Xian frowned and looked around. They didn't attack. Those terrifying phantoms disappeared again. But after dark, they once again appeared between heaven and earth. It was abnormally terrifying. Everyone felt their hair stand on end. It was only at dawn that the phantoms disappeared. Lin Xian's eyes flickered. A hint of doubt appeared in his eyes. On the other side, the venerables of the ancient grotto were ready to attack. But on this day, the old man didn't come out at all. Just like that, he didn't come out for the second and third days. He only came out on the fifth day. And in these 5 nights, Lin Xian had already discovered some strange situations. Because he discovered that these cemeteries were very tall. Obviously, this person was not ordinary. However, there was a mound in the corner. There wasn't even a tombstone. But it was also a tomb? Whose was it? Wasn't it too inconspicuous? However, for so many experts to be buried together, the person's identity shouldn't be too weak. Lin Xian noticed that in his eyes, the heavenly divine eye seemed to be able to see through everything. Suddenly, he was stunned because he discovered something. It was actually empty. There was nothing inside. This puzzled him greatly. On the 6th day, the old man came out again. This time the old man started to command these people again. Those people from the holy city pretended to agree and prepared to attack. Unknowingly, they came to the old man's side and suddenly attacked. Die. The ones who attacked were all late-stage holy venerables. The 2 10,000 sword pavilion sword venerables sent sword chi flying, illuminating the entire place. When their swords descended, they split the world. The people from the ancient grotto attacked. Laws surrounded him, making him look like a demonic god. They attacked strongly. 10,000 beams of light enveloped that person. In addition, the people from the Great Desolate Mansion, the 10,000 Fiend City, and the Thunder God City all attacked strongly. They revealed sinister smiles. With so many late-stage holy venerables attacking together, the other party would probably be beaten into a bloody mist. Indeed, after one attack, that place turned into primal chaos. The people from the ancient grotto turned their heads and stared at Lin Xian and the others. Since they attacked, they might as well deal with them together. They would kill that brat. These people showed cold expressions as they walked towards Lin Xian and the others. Lin Xian snorted coldly. Ling Huchueshue, Fu Hongya, and the others stood up. Morong Qingqing and the others also stood up. Was the battle going to start? Chapter 4285. It was very likely that another earth-shattering holy war would break out between the two sides. However, at this moment, a sneer was heard from the shattered void. "You want to kill me with just a few of you? You must be dreaming. Since you don't know what's good for you, I'll teach you a lesson." After saying that, a terrifying killing intent soared into the sky. Everyone felt their hair stand on end. Could it be a Sage King? No way, there's a Sage King here. Some people retreated in fear. However, at that moment, an old man from the primordial grotto frowned. "No, he's not a real Sage King. He's only one step away. We still have hope. Let's attack together." Those people roared. Among them, the old man from the primordial grotto took out a bottle of crystal sword that shone brightly. A terrifying sword intent swept across the area. When the surrounding people sensed the aura, their expressions changed again. That was a Sage King level weapon. Oh heavens, someone actually took out such a weapon? The people from the Acheron Hall also took out their gourds. The Acheron gourd was also a Sage King level weapon. On the Great Desolate Mansion's side, a desolate mirror shot out. The weapons of the three great Sage Kings swept in all directions. Everyone felt their hair stand on end. The old man roared, and a great battle broke out. These people all had Sage King level weapons. Yu Ruo and the others looked solemn. Ling Hu Chueshua said, "Let's break out of the encirclement quickly." After saying that, they quickly took action. Some of the surrounding people also attacked the old man, while others prepared to break out of the encirclement. Countless terrifying phantoms appeared in the surrounding cemeteries. "Get lost!" Ling Hu Chueshua roared angrily, and his sword pierced through heaven and earth. The unparalleled sacred sword was also in his hand. It was obvious that the unparalleled sacred king was also well prepared. This sword cleaved through everything. They quickly rushed out. On the other side, the other sacred cities also took out their sacred artifacts. It seemed that these sacred cities had prepared such trump cards. At that moment, a terrifying aura blew down from the sky, and a huge seal pressed down. Ling Hu Chueshua's expression changed. Not good. He raised the unparalleled sacred sword. He slashed out, and the two weapons collided, releasing a terrifying energy wave. Then he was forced back. Lin Xian and the others were also blasted back, their chi and blood churning. It was clear that the seal was also a Saint King's weapon. Someone was ambushing them. Who was it? They raised their heads and saw the people from the demon city sneering. Meanwhile, a great desolation flag descended on Lin Xian and froze him in place. The space he was in continued to shatter. Not good. The faces of the surrounding people changed. It seemed like these people were targeting Lin Xian. As expected, several figures descended from the sky. There were people from both the Demon City and the Great Desolate Mansion. Among them, the people from the 10,000 Demon City were restraining Ling Hu Chueshua and the others. The people of the Great Desolate Mansion looked at Lin Xian. "Brat, you run pretty fast, but do you think you can run away? In the second stage, you killed so many of our people. Do you think we will spare you? Today is the day you die. How dare you?" Murong Qingqing bellowed, emitting a terrifying aura. Ling Hu Chueshua and the others did the same. For a moment, the two sides confronted each other. Terrifying laws collided with each other, causing countless cracks to spread out. It seemed like the two sides were about to engage in a huge battle. "It's useless. Stop struggling." The people from the Thunder God City had also arrived. In the sky, a hammer of thunder restrained Murong Qingqing. This way, victory was in their hands. Lin Xian narrowed his eyes and sneered. "Do you think you can kill me like this? What? Do you think you can still escape?" The expert from the Great Desolate Mansion sneered. He was Huang Wu. At this moment, his eyes were filled with coldness. "Since you dare to go against us, you have to bear the consequences. I admit that you are strong, but so what? What right do you have to be arrogant in front of the Saint King's weapon?" Yu Ruo, Lu Yuan, and the others were extremely nervous. Indeed, the Saint King's weapon was too powerful. Lin Xian laughed. "Is that so? Do I have the right? You can give it a try. However, I advise you not to make a move. If you fight me, you will end up in a terrible state. You talk big. Do you think you can turn the tables in my hands?" Huang Wu sneered. He had the Desolate Sky Tyrant flag in his hand. How could he lose? "Today you will definitely die." With a shout, he waved the Desolate Sky Tyrant flag in his hand. Endless desolation spread out. This was the weapon of the Saint King's Marshal. When it was used, its power was at its peak. The surrounding people all spat out blood and retreated. Not good. Ling Hu Chueshua used the unparalleled sword to block the attack. However, he could not help Lin Xian. This was because he was firmly restrained by the 10,000 demon seal. Feeling the terrifying aura, Lin Xian's nerves turned cold. To be honest, he was not afraid because he had a trump card. In fact, he did not need to use the Great Dragon Sword Soul. Before he came, the unparalleled Sage King not only gave Ling Hu Chueshua the unparalleled Sage Sword, but he also returned the Great Sage Tower and the Great Destruction Spear to him. In other words, Lin Xian now also had a Sage King level weapon in his hands. He even had a great sage-level defensive weapon. Ling Hu Chueshua would be courting death if he fought with him. However, he did not plan to use these 2 land cards now. This was because he still had a trump card, and that was his cultivation level. Previously in the 2nd star system, he was suppressed by the heavenly path and could not break through because it would attract the heavenly punishment. However, it was different here. Planet Xiwan had the aura left behind by the Great Emperor. It was extremely mysterious, and even the heavenly path could not completely affect this ancient battlefield. Thinking about it, it should be a place for him to break through. Therefore, Lin Xian decided to give it a try. In the next moment, an extremely terrifying light burst out from his eyes. Then, the dragon in his body roared, and a terrifying aura burst out. The seal in his body was broken. The power that had been suppressed for a long time swept in all directions like a flash flood. Boom, boom, boom. The terrifying power reverberated between heaven and earth, and the entire world became gloomy. Everyone looked up in horror, and found that countless dark clouds had appeared in the sky. They had gathered for 9 days. Some people gasped. This kid's aura. Could it be that he was about to break through? How was that possible? Huang Wu's pupils constricted, and his expression became extremely ugly. Previously, when they entered the holy tower, their strength had increased. Some people even broke through directly. He had broken through from the beginner level to the mid-stage of the holy venerable realm, and his strength had increased greatly. However, there was one exception, and that was Lin Xian. Back then, Lin Xian's cultivation level and aura had not changed at all. This strange scene made many people puzzled. Now the other party had finally displayed a powerful aura. Could it be that he had waited until now to break through? Moreover, the Sage King had told them that he was a person abandoned by the heavens. They felt that the other party's breakthrough at this time was calculated. He snorted coldly. You want to break through? Impossible. You will stay in this realm for the rest of your life. Chapter 4286. Huang Wu wanted to stop Lin Xian's breakthrough in advance, but it was obvious that he couldn't do it. Following the sound of thunder, tens of thousands of lightning bolts engulfed the space. The surrounding people's pupils shrank. Oh no, they had to leave quickly. They retreated quickly, but the lightning tribulation of a small saint was terrifying. Moreover, the lightning tribulation would affect them. If they went in, they would suffer an even more terrifying impact. Especially when they were holding sage weapons, it was unimaginable. Therefore, these people retreated frantically. Huang Wu's pupils shrank. He didn't expect Lin Xian's power to be so strong. It was beyond his expectations. Since he couldn't kill Lin Xian, he could only leave. Thinking of this, he quickly retreated with the desolate heaven tyrannical flag. Do you still want to leave now? Stay. Lin Xian's eyes shone coldly. Like a bolt of lightning, he flew towards Huang Wu. Along with it, there were countless lightning bolts. No. Huang Wu was about to cry. Was Lin Xian trying to kill him? He retreated quickly, but Lin Xian was very fast. In an instant he rushed forward. In the next moment the lightning struck. Lin Xian was also struck by lightning, and he spat out blood. However, he smiled. This impact was nothing to him. As long as he could break through, he would recover instantly. However, it was different for Huang Wu. Huang Wu used the desolate heaven tyrannical flag to block it, but in an instant, he found an even more terrifying lightning. It seemed to be able to destroy the world. Huang Wu threw the desolate heaven tyrannical flag away. This was the aura of a saint. He couldn't block the lightning tribulation at all. However, after throwing it away, he was also hit by the impact. He spat out blood and his body was shattered. However, he knew that with his strength he should be able to dodge it. Thunder rumbled between heaven and earth. Everyone retreated far away. In the sea of lightning, Lin Xian endured the lightning as he strode forward. A huge hand reached out and grabbed forward. The void shattered, and the sun and moon dimmed. In front of him, Baron was trying his best to resist the thunder, and the thunder he suffered was even more terrifying than Lin Xian's. At this moment, when he saw that someone was attacking him, he immediately let out a furious roar. Damn it! The two of them fought in the sea of lightning, causing the entire space to tremble. Desolation's eyes shone with a cold light. He wanted to draw the lightning tribulation from his body onto the other party. However, the power of the divine body was beyond his imagination. Even though Lin Xian had endured a lot of thunder, he was not crushed. Instead, he attacked frantically. Soon Desolate Unchanged collapsed. He had already used all of his strength to support the thunder, and with Lin Xian's help he exploded. His power was scattered in an instant. 10,000 lightning bolts struck the blood mist again, and he was severely injured. Desolate even had the heart to die. He simply couldn't resist this scene. The only thing he could rely on was the barren heaven tyrannical flag, which was the Saint King's weapon. It could defend against everything. But at this moment, he did not dare to use it, because once he used it, he would attract a Saint King-level heavenly tribulation. If that happened, he would die even more miserably. Just like that, he struggled and was conflicted. His heart and soul were destroyed. The thunder attracted the attention of countless people. Even the battle in the distance calmed down. Countless gazes looked over. Finally, they saw the sea of lightning disappear. A figure appeared. The people of the great desolate mansion could not believe it. Where was Desolate? Was he killed? Damn it! They snatched the barren heaven tyrannical flag back. Their eyes filled with endless killing intent. Lin Xian's aura had changed. He had finally reached the beginner stage of the Saint Venerate. His strength had increased. There had been earth-shaking changes. Damn it! Kill him! The people of the great desolate mansion held the barren heaven tyrannical flag, and rushed over again. When Wushuang City and Morong Qingqing saw this scene, their expressions changed. They wanted to help. Lin Xian sneered. He took out a devouring flask and poured the power inside it into Yi Futian. It enveloped him again. The lightning that had already disappeared from the sky was replaced by another bolt of lightning. It was even more terrifying than before. It descended. The surrounding people went crazy. Heavens, how could it be? Was this kid still going to break through? He had just broken through. Damn it. This was the power of the sacred hall. He did not absorb it previously. Instead, he faked it. The surrounding people went crazy. Hurry up and escape. At this moment, these people fled in all directions. Lin Xian roared into the sky like a god of war. His body that had just recovered split open again. Blood dyed the sky red. However, the light in his eyes was even more dazzling. It allowed him to fly quickly between heaven and earth like a group of giants. He charged towards his enemies. The people of the great desolate mansion were instantly sent flying and vomited blood. They wrapped the barren heaven tyrannical flag and fled quickly. Lin Xian turned around and charged towards Thunder God City. Thunder God City's people were scared out of their wits. Although they were Thunder Dao experts, they couldn't do anything about it. Although they were thunder gods, they could not withstand the heavenly tribulation. After being bombarded, their bodies turned black. They also fled quickly. Next, Demon City and Acheron Hall were attacked. The people of the primordial grotto wanted to be arrogant. However, after being struck, they were smoking. They fled quickly. For a time, no one dared to stay in this space. Everyone had left. Between heaven and earth, there was only the terrifying lightning that filled the air. It lasted for a long time before it slowly disappeared. Lin Xian walked out of the sea of lightning again. This time he directly broke through to mid-stage Holy Venerate. The power that he had suppressed previously finally erupted. Now he clenched his fists. Ordinary mid-stage Holy Venerates were not enough in front of him. Even now, when facing a Holy Venerate, he did not need to use any powerful trump cards to fight. This was the change that the increase in strength brought to him. Big Brother Xian, Murong Qingqing, Shen Jingqiu and the others flew over with joy on their faces. Ling Hu Chuexue and the others also came over. In the distance, Guan Songhai and Qin Xiener also came over. These people all congratulated him. Lin Xian also smiled and thanked the protectors. Seeing that Lin Xian was fine, Ling Hu Chuexue also said, "Alright, let's collect the sage ruler's will. After all, only with the sage ruler's will can one go to the legendary hidden emperor star." The others also nodded. Everyone obtained at least one sage ruler's will. Thus, these people prepared to split up. They guessed that the other holy cities would not stay together for too long. They would have to search quickly. The sage ruler's will was the most important. After discussing, everyone split up. Of course, they did not act alone. Normally, 2 or 3 people would work together. Lin Xian, Morong Qingqing, and Xin Jingqiu. The 3 of them formed a small team and flew into the distance. Lin Xian used his heavenly secret divine eyes to scan with all his might. Golden light swept out, enveloping everything. Chapter 4287. Between heaven and earth, 3 streams of light streaked across. It was Lin Xian and the other 2. They passed through the mountains and rivers, quickly searching for the Sage King's will. It had to be said that this place was really too terrifying. The murderous aura was terrifying. It was unknown just how many powerful experts had fallen here in the past. Logically speaking, it shouldn't be a problem to find a Sage King in such a place. However, after searching for so long, they still couldn't find one. There were even some places that they didn't dare to casually step into. The mountain in front seemed to be a little special. Xin Jingqiu pointed at a mountain in the distance and said. Lin Xian opened his heavenly secret divine eyes and took a look. Then he said, "Let's go over." The 3 of them flew forward. The aura around them gradually became abnormal. In the end, the 3 of them changed their expressions as they felt a sense of danger. There should be something in front of them. That powerful great Tao made them unable to breathe. Could it really be the Sage King's will? Great, they finally got one. There was a mountain in front of them. It looked very ordinary, but the aura it emitted was extraordinary. There were no trees on this mountain, only some strange rocks. Lin Xian waved his hand, and a terrifying storm blew over. Those rocks were all shattered. At the same time, streaks of fiery red light appeared in the cracks. Countless runes appeared on the entire mountain. It was abnormally mysterious, as if the great Tao was intertwined. At the same time, an even more violent aura spread out. What a terrifying power. Furthermore, it was the power of fire. Could it be that it was left behind by a fire-type Sage King? Countless flames spread out in all directions with the mountain as the center. In the end, the surrounding ground was also fiery red. Many runes appeared. Lin Xian and the others were shocked when they saw it. What a terrifying scene. What kind of battle happened here back then? Lin Xian was overjoyed. The 9 young divine flames on his body jumped and swept through the 9 heavens. Let's go over and take a look. The 3 of them quickly approached the mountain. However, when they arrived at the mountain, everyone felt a strong sense of authority. Morong Qingqing and Xin Jingqiu didn't get any closer. Instead they said, "The will of the Holy King should be the will of the Fire Tao." Lin Xian nodded. He asked the 2 of them to wait at the back while he went forward. As soon as Lin Xian approached the mountain peak, endless flames rushed over and engulfed the 9 heavens. The aura it emitted was boundless, shrouding the entire world. Lin Xian roared and slapped out with his palm, tearing everything apart. It was as if he had turned into the Fire God Squad 1 to fight against it. An earth-shattering voice was heard. Lin Xian wanted to enter the volcano. At the same time, the commotion here naturally spread into the distance. There were even people flying over from afar. Seeing this, Morong Qingqing and Xin Jingqiu looked serious. Morong Qingqing shouted coldly, "The Kunlun Pavilion has matters to attend to, so all unrelated people are to leave." After he finished speaking, the terrifying phantom of Kunlun Mountain floated between heaven and earth. The surrounding people stopped in their tracks, bewildered. Was it as powerful as the Kunlun Pavilion? They didn't go any closer. However, at this moment, an even more shocking fluctuation came from the mountain peak in front of them. A terrifying will swept through heaven and earth. When the surrounding people sensed it, their expressions changed. Could it be the will of the Holy King? Great, they actually found it. Previously, these people were still a little afraid, but now that they sensed this aura, their eyes turned red. They crazily pounced over. Are they courting death? Xin Jingqiu snorted coldly, and countless Tao runes appeared on his body. Heaven and Earth Dharma idol was about to be used. Morong Qingqing did say, "Forget it, there are too many people. We can't stop all of them. Moreover, let them go." Not just anyone could enter the front. Moreover, once there were more people, there would be fights between them. Alright, Xin Jingqiu didn't make any more moves. He allowed those people to charge forward. Those people turned into streaks of lightning, and their speed was extremely fast. But in an instant, Many people were forced back. What a terrifying flame. Damn it. Some people roared angrily. They didn't expect to see such a rare scene. Shen Jingqiu sneered. Morong Qingqing's eyes flickered. Did they really think that just anyone could enter? Without a strong physique or divine ability, it was impossible to get close. Not to mention obtaining the will of the Holy King. However, suddenly his pupils shrank, and a look of shock appeared in his eyes. The reason for that was because he sensed an even more terrifying aura coming from the sky. In the distance, a stream of light tore through the sky. Not good, an expert is coming. Shen Jingqiu also felt it. He stopped smiling, and a look of seriousness appeared in his eyes. Boom. A large mountain moved quickly and finally arrived nearby. Everyone was shocked to find that it was actually a huge demonic beast. Its body was burning with purple flames. A three-eyed fire demon ape. Everyone was shocked and swallowed their saliva. This was a very terrifying beast of heaven and earth, and its cultivation was very powerful. It had reached the late stage of the holy venerable realm. Morong Qingqing and Morong Qingqing's expressions turned incomparably cold. They knew that this was an expert from the 10,000 Fiend City. To think that the other party actually came. It's the 10,000 Fiend City's people. The surrounding people frantically retreated. Everyone immediately felt horrified. Someone in front exclaimed as he retreated. The one inside was Lin Wudi. What? It's actually him. There would be a good show to watch. Lin Wudi and the 10,000 Fiend City were sworn enemies. Now that the 10,000 Fiend City's late-stage Holy Venerate expert was here, he definitely would not let Xiao Chen off. Discussions rang out. Everyone prepared to watch the battle first, and then take advantage of the situation. They retreated far away and looked ahead. After the three-eyed fire demon ape arrived, its terrifying aura suppressed the surroundings. Seeing everyone retreat, the three-eyed fire demon ape showed disdain in its eyes. Then the three-eyed fire demon ape looked ahead. When it saw that terrifying flaming mountain, joy flashed in its eyes. However, when the three-eyed fire demon ape saw a figure at the foot of the mountain, a cold murderous intent immediately appeared in its eyes. To think that it was Lin Xian. It was the other party. This was great. They had searched high and low for him, only to find him by chance. They had wanted to kill the other party from the start. To think that the other party would appear together with the Holy King's will. This was killing two birds with one stone. Morong Qingqing sent a voice transmission to Lin Xian from afar. Actually, there was no need for her to send a voice transmission. Lin Xian could sense it as well. He turned his head and saw the mountain-like figure. A cold glint appeared in his eyes. Someone from the 10,000 Fiend City? Old thing, yours truly has no time to deal with you now. Hurry up and scram. I'll spare your life. Otherwise, don't blame me for being impolite. Lin Xian's voice rang out. The surrounding people went crazy. What was this guy saying? The three-eyed fire demon ape from the 10,000 Fiend City was enraged as well. In the next moment, it let out a thunderous laugh. Ant, are you trying to provoke me? Chapter 4288. The palm pressed down like the sky, shattering heaven and earth as it encased Lin Xian. Lin Xian's figure flashed, and he instantly dodged, arriving in another space. Old fellow, do you really think that you can suppress me? Xiao Chen snorted coldly. Lin Xian also felt angry. Now his cultivation had broken through 2 stages, reaching middle stage Holy Venerate. His strength had undergone a complete transformation long ago. Now he did not fear facing a late-stage Holy Venerate alone. Morong Qingqing and Shen Jingqiu wanted to go over as well. However, Lin Xian sent them a voice projection. There's no need. I just broke through and want to test my strength. Just the two of you will be my protector. The two nodded. They also knew that Lin Xian's strength had increased long ago, so there was no need to worry. The surrounding people were stunned. This fellow wanted to challenge a late-stage Holy Venerate alone? Where did he get his confidence from? Did this fellow think that he was still in the second stage? In the second stage, late-stage Holy Venerates had to suppress their cultivation to fight. However, in this place, there were no rules to be followed. Indeed, the 3 matured demonic fire ape smiled coldly. Brat, do you think that you can challenge me just because you killed Holy Venerate Hegu? You are really reckless. Now I'll show you the true strength of a late-stage holy venerate. After saying that, the 3 matured demonic fire ape opened his mouth and spewed out an overwhelming purple sea of flames, which turned into boundless red light. Then it charged at Lin Xian, instantly encasing the space around Lin Xian. The overwhelming fire swallowed up everything. Do you think that this fellow will get instantly killed in one move? Some people already started laughing coldly. After all, this was the strength of a late-stage holy venerate. Even from so far away, they felt despair. How could the other party possibly contend against it? Lin Xian looked at these purple flames and snorted coldly. In the next moment he clenched his hand into a fist and punched. The 9 young divine flames surged out and turned into 9 suns. These 9 suns exploded in the surroundings and blocked the purple flames in the sky. Boom, boom, boom. The 2 flames clashed in the surroundings, the 2 great Tao clashing continuously. The sky crumbled and the earth cracked. Lin Xian waved his hand and repelled the purple flames. He looked forward and laughed coldly. Is this all you've got? Stop trying to test me. My strength is beyond your imagination. If you want to defeat me, you'll have to show me your true ability. Otherwise, let's see how you'll withstand my wrath. After he finished speaking, Lin Xian waved his hand and used the tiger demon fist. The golden flames combined with the indomitable aura formed a heavenly flaming steel. He descended from the sky, wanting to suppress the other party. This move was extremely terrifying. Now that it was used by Lin Xian, it was even more terrifying than before. Seeing this, the 3-eyed demonic fire ape was enraged. The other party actually dared to look down on him, and even dared to take the initiative to attack him? Since you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish. He decided to display his true strength and let the other party know what it meant to be a late-stage holy venerable. Raging Inferno War. Following his furious roar, the purple flames on his body erupted as he stretched out his palm. Countless Tao patterns appeared on his palm, interweaving with the great Tao. Then he swung his palm down. The power of this one was much more tyrannical than before. It could be said that they could not be mentioned in the same breath. Clearly, this was a powerful move. The surrounding people retreated in horror, their complexions pale. Several people nearly fell to their knees. A middle-stage holy venerate would not survive this attack. Even a late-stage holy venerate of the same cultivation would not dare to clash head-on. Xin Jingqiu exclaimed, worry filling her eyes. Morong Qingqing remained expressionless. However, she clenched her fists tightly. Her fingertips turned somewhat white. It was obvious that he was extremely nervous. Buzz. Lin Xian snorted coldly. Similarly, a sharp murderous intent appeared in his eyes. The laws and energy that appeared in his body surged continuously. Tiger Demon Fist 4th move Divine Martial. As Xiaochen spoke, his black fist suddenly released an unparalleled light. At the same time, a scene seemed to appear in Lin Xian's mind. It was the scene of him comprehending the dragon's breathing technique on Mount Longhu. Back then he did not have any tiger race's cultivation technique, so he could not comprehend it. However, he remembered that scene deeply in his mind. Now as he executed the tiger demon fist, that scene appeared again. He seemed to sense a strange breathing technique awakening. Along with this vibration, his entire arm seemed to have turned into an exceptional divine lake that roared towards the sky. Roar. A roar was heard, and a terrifying power erupted in the 9 heavens. It caused the surrounding void to shatter into pieces. The surrounding people were all stunned. Where did that roar come from? The tiger, the king of beasts, suppressed everything. They all looked around. Then their pupils shrank. It was Lin Xian. How was that possible? Why was there a roar again? Wasn't he related to the dragons? These people were about to go crazy. The 3-eyed fire demon ape felt its chi and blood tremble when it heard the roar. It was actually related to the tiger race. This kid could not be left alive. A strong murderous intent appeared in its eyes. This kid was related to Mount Longhu. There must be a special inheritance in his body. If it killed the kid and obtained the inheritance, it might be able to further evolve its bloodline. By then, it might even reach the sacred ruler realm in advance. Kid, hand over your secret obediently. It sneered. The purple palm was even more terrifying. It grabbed at Lin Xian. Boom. In the sky, a ferocious tiger lunged forward and collided with the purple palm. The energy produced by the collision was terrifying. Everything in the surroundings was turned into ashes. Apart from the fiery mountain, the others had retreated into the distance. Their bodies were trembling, and their faces were filled with fear. Even the people in the distance felt the energy fluctuation. They all sent out their soul spirits to investigate. Who exactly was fighting? Were they two peak sacred venerables? Did they block it? Amidst the shattered void, they saw that the purple palm had stopped in midair and did not descend again. They did not expect Lin Xian to be able to fight against a late-stage sacred venerate with his own strength. It was unbelievable. How strong was his flesh? How strong was it? Why do I feel like he's already a late-stage sacred venerate? Cries of surprise could be heard. As for the purple palm in the sky, it retreated once again. Following it, it launched a fiercer attack at Qin Nan. The flames on the palm felt like they were going to destroy everything. However, Lin Xian showed no fear. He swung his fist again. The tiger demon fist was executed in an unparalleled manner. At that moment, it was as if a godly tiger had been resurrected. The successive collisions caused the void to turn into chaos. Even the flames on the purple palm dimmed. It was even trembling. The three-eyed fire demon ape wore an unpleasant expression. This guy was actually able to fight against it. Chapter 4289. This brat must have secretly taken a medicinal pill or executed some secret technique. Only then can he contend with me. I want to see how long he can last. The three-eyed fire demonic ape snorted coldly. After all, it was a true late-stage holy venerate. It did not believe that the other party could keep contending with it. The purple flames on its body became even more horrifying. At the same time, its body became even larger. It was like it had become a huge great desolate Ian beast. The three-eyed fire demonic ape kept waving its palms. It was like 100,000 mountains were descending, suppressing everything. Lin Xian's face turned sullen. He snorted coldly and formed hand seals. Laws flew out and formed the 10 absolute sword formation around him. Kill! The 10 absolute sword formation gave off dragon roars and terrifying sword chi. The sword chi flew around continuously, piercing through the sky. Boom, boom, boom. Countless strands of sword chi flew into the sky and clashed with the purple palms. A sky-shattering sound rang out. Following that, cracks appeared on the purple palms. A terrifying aura filled the air, and the surrounding people were all stunned. They heard the sound of something shattering. What's going on? These people looked over. Then their eyes nearly popped out. The purple palms were actually about to shatter. This was too inconceivable. Everyone was stunned. The atmosphere turned somewhat quiet. They simply could not believe what was happening. Boom. Another explosion rang out, and the 10 ultimate sword formation was knocked back. It circled around Lin Xian. Lin Xian was also knocked back, smashing through space. Lin Xian's complexion was somewhat pale. However, his lips curled up in a smile. Lin Xian looked to the front. In front of them, a huge black shadow was burning with purple flames. That was a pair of purple palms. At this moment, they were covered in cracks. Following a loud explosion, the crack opened with a loud rumble. The palms shattered. Clumps of blood wrapped in flames fell from the sky. The ground was pierced, and the mountain peak was smashed apart. A scene of apocalypse appeared. What late-stage holy venerate? That's all there is to it. Lin Xian smiled coldly. Roar! The three-eyed fire demonic ape reared its head back and roared furiously. He was actually injured. Although his arm was broken, it was only a minor injury to him. But this was a slap to his face. The other party was weaker than him by an entire realm, but was actually able to injure him. Damn it. With a roar, he raised his foot and stomped down viciously. This strike was earth-shattering, and it was filled with incomparable fury. Lin Xian's figure flashed as he quickly dodged the attack. The surrounding ground continued to shatter. The broken body of the three-eyed fire demon ape healed once again. His palms recovered and began to close together. It directly hit Lin Xian. With a boom, it completely enveloped Lin Xian as if he was swatting a fly. Many people's eyelids twitched when they saw this. This strike was enough to shatter his bones. Morong Qingqing and Xin Jingqiu looked worried again. The three-eyed fire demon ape laughed coldly. Let's see how you die this time. However, his smile quickly disappeared. The reason for that was because his palm had shattered once again. 36 swords flew out and circled around Lin Xian. Xian executed the Heavenly Star Battle Sword. Together with the 10 consummate sword technique, it was extremely strong. Brat, you have thoroughly angered me. The three-eyed fire demon ape roared. It opened its mouth and spat out countless flames, which turned into a long saber that it grasped. This was its weapon. It held it with both hands. The saber split the sky. It clashed with the battle swords. Boom. Lin Xian was sent flying in an instant. His 30 battle swords were trembling nonstop. This saber strike was too terrifying. It was a peak saber strike of a late-stage holy venerate. Even Lin Xian could not block it with his full power. He kept retreating, crashing through mountains and rivers. However, Xiao Chen's physique was extremely strong. This saber strike only made his qi and blood surge. It did not injure him. The 36 battle swords regrouped. The 10 consummate sword formation erupted with unparalleled might. The battle between the two turned into a storm. At the same time, Lin Xian attacked again. The tiger demon fist erupted again. The ferocious tiger phantom roared, suppressing the 9 heavens. On the other side, dragon roars came from the 10 consummate sword formation. Dragon roars and tiger roars. When these two forces appeared together, Lin Xian executed the dragon tiger breathing technique again. A terrifying aura spread out. This time, he was extremely strong. Boom. The purple flame saber was sent flying. The three-eyed fire demon ape also kept retreating. Its huge body fell to the ground. Lin Xian soared into the sky and executed the dragon tiger phantom again. The dragon and tiger merged into one. It was like a huge mountain, pressing down on the three-eyed fire demon ape. Go to hell. Lin Xian roared. At this moment, the power of the dragon tiger breathing technique and the 10 consummate sword formation were unleashed to the extreme. That aura of destruction suppressed everything. Everyone raised their heads and looked at this godlike figure. They were extremely shocked. This Lin Wudi is really too strong. It is a tragedy to be born in the same era as him. Roar. The three-eyed fire demon ape roared crazily. Its purple flame saber had already been hacked into the ground far away. Its arm was also broken. It could not fight back at all. However, it roared at the sky, releasing a sky-shaking sound wave. Fire demon roar. The terrifying sound wave vibrated and swept out in all directions. It went against the dragon tiger roar and dragon tiger roar. The two collided again. The aura kept collapsing. Everyone saw the sky falling and the earth cracking. They had sealed off their hearing and used their laws to defend themselves. Crack. Crack. Lin Xian's body let out a dragon roar again. The dragon tiger phantom exploded again. After shattering the tiger demon fist, he viciously punched downwards. Its target was the head of the other party. Not good. Seeing this, countless people exclaimed. They did not expect this. The three-eyed fire demon ape was defeated. They were worried for the other party. This was something that they had never dreamed of. Great. Is he going to win? Morong Qingqing and Shen Jingqiu smiled. The dragon tiger phantom was reflected in the eyes of the three-eyed fire demon ape. In the next moment, its eyes turned red. The third eye between its brows shone with a strange light. Then, a purple lightning bolt flew out from its eye and split the sky. Crack. The shocking thunder made everyone's blood boil. Then, the dragon tiger mountain was split open. Lin Xian's pupils shrank. He retreated and dodged quickly. However, he was still affected by the aura. In an instant, the place he was at turned into nothingness. Brother Xian. Morong Qingqing and the rest exclaimed. The others were also stunned. What was going on? Was Lin Wudi killed? What was that purple light just now? Someone took a deep breath. It was the third eye of the three-eyed fire demon ape. It was one of its unique skills. Once it was released, its power was extremely terrifying. Everyone was terrified. The third eye actually had such terrifying power. Chapter 4290. The earth trembled, and the huge figure on the ground stood up again. All the cracks on his body were healed, and his eyes shone with a strange light. His cold voice was like thunder as it spread out in all directions. A mere ant dares to go against me? You really don't know your place. The three-eyed fire demon ape sneered. In the distance, there was a flash of light. It was obvious that the battle here had attracted people from afar. When they arrived, their pupils shrank when they saw this scene. It was actually an expert from the demon race. They stopped in the air and were shocked. Who was the instructor? They looked around and realized that the people around them were talking about Lin Xian. Had Lin Xian already been killed? Some people were shocked, while others revealed hideous smiles. That's great. This guy is finally dead. Brother Lin Xian. Xin Jingqiu's face changed. The cosmic form behind her surged out, and was about to soar into the sky. Morong Qingqing said, Qiu'er, don't be nervous. Try to sense Brother Xian's aura. It hasn't weakened. Xin Jingqiu was stunned. She quickly used her soul to check. Then she heaved a sigh of relief. Indeed, she could sense Lin Xian's aura. It was still there, so she didn't act rashly. Whoosh. A few sword lights slashed the void. A figure walked out from the turbulent energy. His body was still stained with blood. It was obvious that he was injured. However, it didn't seem to be a big deal. I didn't expect you to have a trump card. You could even split the illusion of Mount Longhu. Lin Xian looked serious. Indeed, the attack just now was combined with the breathing technique of the dragons and tigers. He was confident that he could destroy everything. However, he didn't expect his opponent to block it and even injure him. It seemed like his opponent's third eye contained the secrets of heaven and earth. He's not dead? The people in the distance were also shocked when they saw this scene. The three-eyed fire demon ape was also stunned. Its 3 eyes were burning with anger. You're still alive. Well, I'll capture you and torture you to death slowly. The three-eyed fire demon ape bared its fangs, and the murderous aura on its body became even more terrifying. It closed its eyes and opened the 3 eyes in between its eyebrows. The eyes were mysterious and there were strange runes on them. Soul destruction. A purple light shone and instantly appeared in front of Lin Xian, and enveloped Lin Xian. Heaven and earth around them. Lin Xian also snorted coldly. Boundless power surged from his body. At the same time, a pair of golden eyes opened, like the eyes of a god. The golden flames burned fiercely and collided with the purple light. Then both of them disappeared from the world. And fortunately, he was also a powerhouse. That was why he could block the attack. Otherwise, he would have been in danger. He could block the attack. The fire demon ape's face darkened. After all, it had already used some of its trump cards. However, it was still unable to do anything to its opponent. It found it unbelievable. Let's see how long you can last. While using the soul destruction light, it charged toward Lin Xian quickly. The dual attack of the body and soul was enough to destroy everything. Everyone was worried about Lin Xian again. Lin Xian roared and scanned the surroundings with his heavenly secret god eyes. Between heaven and earth, there was a pair of divine eyes looking down and fighting against the soul destruction light. At the same time, he threw out a black spear. Boundless murderous aura surged toward Lin Xian. Do you think I don't have a trump card? The great spear of destruction was thrown out with a monstrous demonic aura. Lin Xian's original flames were filled with demonic aura. He became extremely violent as if he was a supreme demon king. Some people felt their scalps go numb when they saw it. This guy actually took back the demonic divine artifact again. It was really unbelievable. This great spear of destruction was extremely powerful. They had analyzed it before. It was a super sacred artifact of the demonic race. It might even be of the Sage King level. Now that it was in Lin Xian's hands, it could make Lin Xian's power stronger again. Sure enough, after Lin Xian used it, one attack pierced through heaven and earth. It had an aura that could destroy everything. The whole world shook violently. Poof! The three-eyed fire demon ape's huge body was instantly pierced through. Blood dripped and dyed the sky red. Ah! He roared at the sky and let out an angry roar. He was so angry that his voice pierced through gold and cracked stone. He didn't expect that he would be injured again. Damn it! Enduring the pain of the wound, his huge palm grabbed the great spear of destruction and wanted to snatch it. This was a super powerful sacred artifact. He was extremely jealous. You're about to die and you still want to snatch my treasure? You don't know what's good for you. Lin Xian sneered. Although his body was not as huge as the other party, his strength was not weak at all. He held it with both hands. With an angry roar, his body bloomed with golden light. At this moment, he didn't hold back at all. The aura of the 9 suns body was displayed to the world. The endless void under his feet collapsed. Lin Xian's hands were like dragons, roaring in the sky. Waving the great spear of destruction, he directly lifted the huge body of the 3-eyed fire demon king. Then he kept dancing and smashed it fiercely toward the big one. Boom! An earth-shaking sound rang out. The 3-eyed fire demon king was smashed to the ground. The endless earth shattered, and the ground below turned into hell. As for the 3-eyed fire demon king's body, it was also torn apart. A large crack appeared on its body, directly splitting it apart. This shocking scene stunned everyone. Countless people sucked in a breath of cold air in disbelief. This Lin Wudi was really heaven-defying. Kill! With one attack, he shattered the other party's body. Lin Xian roared. With the great spear of destruction in his hand, he attacked again. The dragon and tiger phantoms surrounded him. The 10 ultimate sword formation floated and rushed inside with supreme power. Then he attacked the broken body again. Damn it! With a roar, the 3-eyed fire demon king wanted to recover his body. However, the sword chi of the 10 ultimate sword formation nailed his broken body in the void. He couldn't escape in a short time. However, he was a late-stage holy venerate after all. He was very strong. Now that he couldn't move his body, he used his soul to attack. The purple eyes contained an endless amount of soul power. Go to hell. It was another soul-extinguishing light. This time it was much more powerful than the previous one. Lin Xian roared. His heavenly secret divine eyes completely erupted. His 2 eyes released a resplendent golden light. It was like a golden sea sweeping down. Puff. Ah. The golden light blocked the purple soul-extinguishing light. Then it counterattacked. The purple eyes were hit by the golden light. Then he closed his eyes. Blood flowed out. This time, not only was his body injured, but even his soul was severely injured. He roared at the sky. He was very angry. Damn it! In the distance, the people of the 1,000 Demon City rushed over. They finally couldn't bear it anymore and wanted to attack. However, Morong Qingqing and Shen Jingqiu stood in the void. Let's see who dares to attack. The moment the cosmic form behind Shen Jingqiu appeared, the terrifying laws were like an inescapable net that enveloped the entire area. Morong Qingqing waved her jade-like hand. A green light cut through the void like a long knife. Her cold voice rang out. Those who cross this line will be killed without mercy. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.